idea about today's session. We will begin with an official inauguration with our dignitaries. Then we have some star speakers who will be talking about their journey, the innovation, the experiences, their ideas. And apart from that, we have few panel discussions lined up. Theme for the panel discussions are Odisha, a land of opportunities, women in innovation, the future of startup evolution in Odisha. Next panel discussion will be on grassroots to global, and we will have some of the star speakers on the dais to talk about their journey, experience, share ideas about innovations. So everyone hold your breath, just few minutes more. We are about to welcome our dignitaries and inaugurate our session officially, and then we will head for Startup Odisha plenary session. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. With a huge round of applause, let's welcome Honorable Minister of Education, Government of India, Shri Dharmendra Pradhan Ji, for the inauguration of Startup Odisha plenary session, as we have the theme, Odisha, a rising star in India's startup landscape. We welcome our dignitaries on the dais. We welcome Honorable Minister, Housing and Urban Development Department, Government of Odisha, Dr. Krishna Chandra Mahapatra. We welcome Honorable Minister, Electronics and Information Technology Department, Government of Odisha, Dr. Mukesh Mahaling. We welcome Honorable Minister, Odisha Language, Literature and Culture Department, Sri Suryavanshi Suraj. we welcome Honorable Minister, MSME Department, Government of Odisha, Shri Gokulananda Malik. We welcome Shri Sashwata Mishra, IAS, Principal Secretary to Government, Finance Department, Government of Odisha. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, put your hands together and let's welcome all the dignitaries on the dais. We have with us Shri Dharmendra Pradhan, Honorable Minister of Education, Government of India. We invite all the dignitaries, all the guests on the dais to grace this occasion and officially inaugurate Startup Odisha Plenary Session. A warm welcome to everyone. Utkarsh means prosperity, awakening, progress and enlightenment. Odisha is indeed a land of opportunities. Odisha is progressing and is on the path of prosperity. Odisha is a rising star in India's startup landscape. So we welcome you all to the Startup Odisha Plenary Session, where today we shall be discussing about the opportunities, innovations, future and the journey of startups. So I request our volunteers to kindly officially present flower bouquet and welcome our dignitaries on the dais. I welcome Shri Subendra Kumar Behera, Chairman CII Eastern Region and Vice Chairman and Managing Director RSB Transmissions Limited. To join us on the dais, I invite Shri Subendra Kumar Behera, Chairman CII Eastern Region and Vice Chairman and Managing Director RSB Transmissions. And I request our volunteers to kindly present officially welcome with a beautiful flower bouquet. We welcome our Honorable Minister of Education, Government of India, Shri Dharmendra Pradhan. We welcome Dr. Krishna Chandra Mahapatra, Honorable Minister, Housing and Urban Development Department, Government of Odisha. We welcome Dr. Mukesh Mahaling, Honorable Minister, Electronics and Information Technology Department, Government of Odisha. We welcome Sri Suryavanshi Suraj, Honorable Minister, ODI Language, Literature and Culture Department, Government of Odisha. We welcome Shri Gokulananda Malik, Honorable Minister, MSME Department, Government of Odisha. We welcome Shri Subendra Kumar Behera, Chairman, CII Eastern Region and Vice Chairman and Managing Director, RSB Transmissions Limited. We welcome Shri Sashwata Mishra, IAS, Principal Secretary to Government, Finance Department, Government of Odisha. We welcome all our guests, dignitaries, star speakers, moderators, panelists, government officials, press, media, each and all who is present here for Startup Odisha Plenary Session. A warm welcome to all the dignitaries. Thank you everybody for joining us for the inauguration of Startup Odisha Plenary Session. To speak about Startup Odisha, Odisha's journey as a startup destination reflects the power of transforming ideas into thriving ventures. Since the inception of Startup Odisha in 2016, the state has fostered innovation and built a robust entrepreneurial ecosystem to drive economic growth, create jobs, and establish Odisha as a hub for startups in India. With over 2,072 startups across diverse sectors, Odisha is leveraging its resources, strategic policies, and world-class infrastructure to create opportunities. The OHub, a Government of Odisha Incubation Center, provides state-of-the-art facilities. Startup Odisha's commitment to inclusive growth, global collaborations, and decentralized innovation underscores its vision to position itself as a global startup hub. It's a time to have a look on the audio visual that shows the journey of Startup Odisha. Audio visual, please.
In the heart of eastern India lies Odisha, a state rich in culture and now a burgeoning hub for innovation. This is the story of Startup Odisha, an initiative transforming dreams into thriving ventures. Since its inception, Startup Odisha has fostered over 2,072 startups across diverse sectors, including agritech, IT, artificial intelligence, healthcare, fintech, and biotechnology. With strategic partnerships and a conducive ecosystem, Startup Odisha has established multiple incubators, providing entrepreneurs with the resources and mentorship they need to succeed. Offering seed funding, policy interventions, and a supportive environment, Startup Odisha ensures startups have the financial backing and infrastructure to thrive.
Startup Odisha has been very instrumental in our growth, and we actually received need-based assistance from Startup Odisha. That was very helpful for developing the proof of concept product. Startup Odisha has been significant in providing platforms for startups like us to showcase our talent and prove our business in the country.
Through its initiatives, Startup Odisha has created a robust ecosystem supporting startups in sectors ranging from agritech to biotechnology and facilitating their growth and success.
Odisha has one of the best startup policies in the country, and our Startup Odisha, through our network of incubators, mentors, venture capitalists, angel funds, and other support services to assist the budding startups in Odisha.
As we look to the future, Startup Odisha remains committed to fostering innovation, supporting entrepreneurs, and driving economic growth in the state.
हमारे उड़ीसा के पास प्राकृतिक संसाधनों का भंडार है, इतना बड़ा समुद्री तट मिला है। उड़ीसा में इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड की प्रबल संभावना है। आज उड़ीसा में रेलवे के नए ट्रैक से जुड़े लगभग अनेकों प्रोजेक्ट पर काम कर रहा है।
Startup Odisha is more than an initiative. It's a catalyst for change, empowering entrepreneurs to turn their visions into reality. Together, we are building a prosperous and innovative Odisha.
It's so good to see the roadmap ahead emphasizes promoting women and special category entrepreneurs, strengthening funding networks, expanding infrastructure, promoting international connectivity, and refining policies to empower startups and scale their impact. With continued efforts, Odisha is poised to lead the way in innovation, inclusivity, and economic transformation. With this is Gungun. I welcome you all to the Utkarsh Odisha 2025 Startup Odisha Plenary Session. To officially welcome and address the gathering, can I request Shri Saswat Mishra, IAS Principal Secretary to Government, Finance Department, Government of Odisha, to kindly join us. With a huge round of applause, let's welcome Shri Saswat Mishra.
Namaskar to all. Honorable Union Minister, Honorable Ministers of the State Government of Odisha, dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, entrepreneurs, startups, students, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to share my thoughts on the dynamic and rapidly evolving startup landscape of Odisha. Odisha, long known for its rich heritage and natural resources, is now making its mark as a hub of innovation and entrepreneurship. The state's startup ecosystem is witnessing incredible growth, with over 2,000 registered startups across diverse sectors such as technology, agriculture, healthcare,
fintech, education, and renewable energy. This progress is a testament of the talent, creativity, and resilience of Odisha's entrepreneurs. The government's Startup Odisha initiative has played a pivotal role in fostering this ecosystem, from providing financial support and mentorship to creating world-class incubation centers like OHub in Bhubaneswar. The state has been proactive in nurturing innovation. The focus on inclusive growth, empowering women entrepreneurs, and supporting startups in rural areas has made Odisha a role model for other states. Moreover, Odisha's abundant resources, strategic location, and improving infrastructure provide a fertile ground for startups to thrive. Initiatives like hackathons, startup conclaves, startup yatras, startup melas, and partnerships with global organizations are further propelling the state toward becoming a prominent player in India's startup journey. And the state has also recently decided to leave no stone unturned to set up an InsurTech hub in Bhubaneswar. In fact, we had a meeting with India's InsurTech Association, LIC, and some other important stakeholders yesterday to make Bhubaneswar an InsurTech hub of India. The startup landscape in Odisha is more than just a movement. It is a revolution that promises to drive economic growth, create jobs, and offer sustainable solutions to global challenges. I encourage all aspiring entrepreneurs to seize the opportunities this state provides and contribute to building a brighter and innovative future. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, sir. With this, we invite Shri Subhendra Kumar Behera, Chairman, CII Eastern Region and Vice Chairman and Managing Director, RSB Transmissions Limited, to kindly share a few words.
Good afternoon. With us are Honorable Mr. Sri Dharmendra Pradhan Ji, Honorable Cabinet Minister of the Government of Odisha, esteemed broadcasts, friends from the industry, media. I am proud to be here today in this program because it is in the Odisha, and being a Oriya entrepreneur, I like to speak here. I just got some of the point, but I'll not go through that point. Being an entrepreneur, I am going to tell what is the startup. 50 years back, my brother and myself, with the startup, with a very small money from my father and elder brothers. That time, it was just few lakhs of the turnover, and startup industry got sick. It takes 7 years to revive. At present, that time it was only 15 lakh or 20 lakhs of the sales. I am talking of the 75 or 76. Now this company has 5,000 crores of the turnover and 19 plants all over India. You see, the friends from the startup who are coming to do the business with the new innovation, like our IT secretary asked for the innovation, there's two things. One is the existing type of product, whatever are available, and if you know that technology and you know the market, you start your startup. Another thing is that young engineers from IITian and other engineer college, they are coming with their innovation of technology and they like to do startup. I know from Bhubaneswar, there's 2, 3, I think Mr. Mahanti, they have make drone for defense, and they are doing good. So if in startup, coming with the innovation, and you know the little marketing, but you must know the finance. How do the finance, how to manage the finance. Otherwise, startup, it is very difficult. All of us know in all over India, like ODISHA, our 5,000 startup now working. But if you see the India, it is close to 1 lakh startup. But 95% startup, within a year or two, it is dead. Only 5% or 10% come out. But there is no problem. Our is a developing country, and we should try startup and business. Second, I request the youngster who are coming out from the college, they should do the startup because they have the energy. They don't have any family burden. हम लोग जब स्टार्ट किए तो शादी भी नहीं किए थे, इसलिए कोई बर्डन था ही नहीं हमारा ऊपर में. तो लाइक दैट दे शुड स्टार्ट and continuously put the effort to do that from the heart, from the brain, continuous, no day and night you have to work for that, for the success. Then success will come. Our CIA has the startup cell. We trained a startup entrepreneur how to manage the finance, how to manage the marketing, and how to manage the technology. If someone needed the support, we are here to support. A very strong startup cell we have in CI, Eastern region and Center both. So this is the reason why I am telling from myself, I am the entrepreneur, and from that thought process and that feelings I am telling here. In the morning session, our Bandhan Bank ex-chairman was there in the morning. He has a small trader, convert to bank with a small banking system. Then now it is a big 5 lakhs crores of the turnover in that bank. It is possible, my dear, who are doing the startup, and if you are putting up your entire energy for this, and you will get the government support 100%. It may be the state, Odisha state, maybe from the center, you will get all the support whatever you need. I hope we are going to listen our Honorable Minister Sri Dharmendra Pradhan ji. She has very big and vast experience in this line, also industry line. I know him from last, I think 30 years. He's like now my family member, my brother. So he may speak more about us, how we have started, where we have reached. The friends from all the sector of the startup player, take your time, understand again I am telling you the technology, market, and finance. If you manage, it will be successful. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. Can we have a huge round of applause for Shri Subhendra Kumar Behera? Now we have with us Honorable Minister, MSME Department, Government of Odisha, Shri Gokulananda Malik, sir. With a huge round of applause, let's welcome him to address the gathering.
जय जगन्नाथ। माननीय श्री धर्मेंद्र प्रधान महोदय, केंद्र शिक्षा मंत्री भारत सरकार, माननीय डॉक्टर कृष्णचंद्र पात्र महोदय, मान्यवर मंत्री गृह नगर उन्नयन ओडिशा सरकार, माननीय श्री सूर्यवंशी सूरज महोदय, मान्यवर मंत्री उच्च शिक्षा क्रीड़ा युवक कल्याण ओडिशा भाषा और साहित्य, माननीय श्री शाश्वत मिश्र महाशय, सचिव प्रमुख सचिव अर्थ विभाग ओडिशा सरकार श्री सुधांशु कुमार बेहरा महाशय एवं मीडिया बंधु एवं लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, बंधुगण, निश्चित भाव में आज आम पाई गोटे गर्व एवं गौरवर विषय। आज ओडिशार इंडस्ट्रियल शिल्प महाकुंभ उत्कर्ष ओडिशा मेक इन ओडिशा कॉन्क्लेव 2025 रो प्रथम दिन प्लेनरी सेक्शन रे स्टार्टअप को आसीथिबा समस्त अतिथि, राज्य बाहर आसीथिबा शिल्पपति, निवेशक, स्टार्टअप, छात्र छात्री बंधुगण एवं समस्त ऑफिसर मानक मु आज हार्दिक अभिनंदन ज्ञापन करुछि। आज आम ओडिशा पाई एक सौभाग्य एवं गोटे सुवर्ण सुजोग समय मध्य आनी देइछि। आजिर एही भाइब्रेंटाल महाकुंभ को भारतर बरपुत्र आमर यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी निजर कर कमल आज आकु उद्घाटन करिसंती। सेथि निमंते मु मोर सरकार और राज्यवासी तरफर अनेक अनेक शुभेच्छा एवं धन्यवाद मध्य ज्ञापन करुछि। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री वर्तमान ओडिशा को यहाँ होची पंचम ग्रस्त। निश्चित भाव में एथिरु जना पड़ुछि जे ओडिशा पाई तांकर भल पाइबा, ओडिशा को एवं पूर्व भारतर अर्थनैतिक द्वार देश परिणत करने पाई तांकर जो संकल्प एथिरे मध्य कांध को कांध मिसैचंती आमर प्रिय मुख्यमंत्री श्री मोहन चरण माझी, जे कि विकसित भारतर विकसित ओडिशा गठन करने पाई संकल्प नैचंती। आम विभाग यही स्टार्टअप को आज जदि देखिबा ओडिशार स्टार्टअप कल्चर को प्रोत्साहित करने एवं अधिक अधिक युवपीढ़ी को सुजोग देवा पाई वर्तमान आमर सरकार अनेक पदक्षेप मध्य नौचंती। आम सरकार को लक्ष्य खाली गति देनी परंतु ओडिशार अर्थनीति को एक नूतन दिगंत भाव में एक गेम चेंजर भाव में सहायक होइछि। आज स्टार्टअप अधिवेशन में मु कही रखे कि गत 7 मास मध्य आमर सरकार 2000 रु अधिक स्टार्टअप को सहायता देबारे सक्षम हो पारिछि। ए स्टार्टअप गति को खाली भुवनेश्वर नुह, यहाँ ओडिशार विभिन्न जिला को मध्य आपको रूपांतरित करा जाइछि। आमर जो सरकार लक्ष्य रही, प्रिय प्रधानमंत्री लक्ष्य रही अंत्योदय अर्थात समाज अंतिम भाग में छिड़ा होइथिबा लोक को साहाय्य करिबा, समाजर मुख्य स्रोत रे शामिल करिबा पाई। एणु आज आम स्टार्टअप माध्यम समाजर विभिन्न युवक छात्र छात्री जो माने ग्रामांचल रे बसवास करुचंती तांको स्टार्टअप क्षेत्र में नियोजित करने पाई वर्तमान सरकार अनेक पदक्षेप नौचंती एवं सेमानको प्रोत्साहन जगैबार मध्य आज आम सरकार व्यवस्था करुचंती। राज्यर ओडिशा गर्व करे आम शक्तिशाली महिला उद्यमी मानक उपरे एमाने आमर पारंपरिक हस्तशिल्प उद्योग ठारू आरंभ करी अत्याधुनिक प्रजुक्ति संपन्न उद्योगी मानक भितरे सेमानकर सफलता एवं नेतृत्व को मध्य प्रमाण करि सारिछंती। आमर ओडिशा सरकार महिला नेतृत्व स्टार्टअप मानक उभय जातीय तथा विश्व स्तरीय प्लाटफर्म रे सशक्तिकरण करी सेमानकर सफलता सुनिश्चित करने निमंते पुलिस फ्रेमवर्क माध्यम रे विभिन्न प्रकार वर्तमान मेंटरिंग एंड फाइनेंशियल एंड सपोर्ट वर्क सपोर्ट करिवारे मध्य सक्षम होईछि। आमर स्टार्टअप नीति ओडिशा रो कोर सेक्टर मानकु नजर रखी आग्रही करा जाउछि, जेपरि कि एग्रीकल्चर मिनरल एवं आईटी एवं जहाँ कि राज्यर स्टार्टअप और स्टार्टअप सेक्टर अनेक अनुकूल परिवेश अतुटी शक्ति प्रदान करिवारे सहायता हो पारुछि। सेक्टर स्पेसिफिक इनक्यूबेशन माध्यम आम यहाँ निश्चित करुचे आम स्टार्टअप माने युव उद्योगी हेबा सह आम राज्य में मिलुथिबा प्राकृतिक एवं शिल्प संपद को नियोजित करी आग को बढ़ी पारिबे एवं एथिरे वर्तमान आम सरकार अनेक सुविधा सुजोग जोगेबा पाई युवा वर्ग मानकु आकृष्ट करा जाउची। उद्योगी मानकर आर्थिक अवरोध को हटाइबा पाई ओडिशा स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम रो संचालन करा जाइछि। ओडिशा रे स्टार्टअप माने पाउथिबा सुविधा गुड़िक को मध्य जोगाई देउछि। मंथली अलाउंस ऑफ द ऑपरेशन ऑफ सस्टेनेबिलिटी प्रोडक्ट डेवलपमेंट मार्केटिंग असिस्टेंस नीड बेस्ड ग्रांट ऑफ स्ट्रेंथिंग ग्रोथ सेहीपरि भाव में सब्सिडाइज इनक्यूबेशन स्पेस मध्य जोगाई देवार आम सरकार वर्तमान व्यवस्था करछंती। आम विश्वास रखिचु जे एक उन्नत व्यवस्था उन्नत भविष्यतर परिकल्पना करे। ओडिशा एक समृद्ध स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम प्रतिष्ठा निमंते ओडिशा एक त्रिस्तरीय स्टार्टअप परिषद बा 3 टायर स्टार्टअप काउंसिल टास्क फोर्स एक स्टार्टअप सचिवालय ओहब मध्य गठन करी आम सरकार निश्चित करिछन जे स्टार्टअप गुडी को सेमानकर यात्रा रे पर्याय सठिक समर्थन नीति निर्धारण पांठी और सठिक समय एक सठिक परिमाणर अर्थ मध्य जोगाई देबा पाई आम सरकार वर्तमान व्यवस्था करुचंती। ओडिशा एक स्टार्टअप और पावरफुल हाउस करबा पाई आमे आमर युवपीढ़ी युव उद्योगी मानक भितरे दक्षता को सज्जित करने को प्रतिकल्पबद्ध होइछु। आमानको छात्र छात्री मानको सेथिरे नियोजित करा जाउची। ओडिशा रे भरी रहिछि अपार सुजोग। तेणु वर्तमान जोटा कि आमर प्रिय प्रधानमंत्री तांकर वक्तव्य मध्य कहि सारिचंती ओडिशा रे वर्तमान समस्त प्रकार सुजोग भरी रहिछि अपार संभावना भरी रहिछि। तेणु आमर युव उद्योगी मानको स्टार्टअप एवं एमएसएमई सेक्टर रे जोड़िबा पाई आमे चेष्टा करूछु। आपण माने समस्ते जानती एमएसएमई होची भारत अर्थनीतिर मेरुदंड अटे। यहाँ उत्पादन 45% 45% एवं रप्तानी 40%। वर्तमान यदि देखा निश्चित भाव में अर्थनैतिक विकास दिगरे एमएसएमई भूमिका अत्यंत गुरुत्वपूर्ण रही। ओडिशा रे खनिज भित्तिक शिल्प प्रतिष्ठा व्यतीत इनफॉरमेशन टेक्नोलॉजी पर्यटन एवं जोटा कि आमर प्रिय प्रधानमंत्री तांको वक्तव्य आज कहि सारिचंती जदि आमे फिशरी सेक्टर रे मध्य देखिबा फिशरी एआरडी जदि एवं एनुअल हजबेंड्री जदि आमे देखिबा अनेक सुजोग रहिछि जो ग्रामांचलर प्रकृत युवक युवती मानकु आत्मनिर्भर करने सहित अर्थनैतिक विकास क्षेत्र में आमर यह विभाग सपोर्ट करने सरकार तरफ समस्त प्रकार पदक्षेप नि। आज जदि देखा ओडिशा रे 480 किलोमीटर अधिक बेलाभूमि रही ये खनिज पदार्थ रही एटी विभिन्न एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्ट मध्य रही। तेणु नूतन जो माने युवक युवती माने आग्रही अछंती निश्चित भाव में यही सरकार सेमानकु समस्त प्रकार सहयोग करने आज प्रतिश्रुतिबद्ध मध्य रही। आज आपण मानकर आशीर्वाद रु ओडिशा रे डबल इंजिन रो सरकार आसिला तेणु समस्त सुजोग आपण मानकर हाथ पांतार अछि तेणु आपण मानक मोर विनीत अनुरोध रहिबो जे आज ओडिशार युवक युवती माने पाठ पढ़ा सरिला परे निश्चित भाव में आमे चिंता करती जे आमे गोटे चाकरी करवा एवं निज पाई निजे किछि करवा तेणु मु निश्चित भाव में आपण मान को समस्त ये युवपीढ़ी छात्र छात्री उद्योगी बसिचंती आमे किछि निज पाई करवा सहित आम देश मातृकार आमर देशर राज्य पाई किछि निश्चित भाव में करबा पाई आमे संकल्प नेबा जोटा कि आम प्रिय प्रधानमंत्री स्वप्न रही 2047 बेलू विकसित भारत एवं 2036 बेलू विकसित ओडिशा गठन करवा तेणु मो सामने बसी समस्त छात्र छात्री निश्चित भाव में ये जो विकसित ओडिशा विकसित भारत रे एक सुदक्ष बिंधाणी हेबे जो आरंभ करिथिबा प्रधानमंत्री ये उद्यम रे आपण माने जणे जणे धर्मपद हेबे बेली मोर आशा एवं विश्वास रखुची एवं आज मो एमएसएमई सेक्टर रे समस्त जो माने आज रही छोट बड़ उद्योगी मो आज मु कहवा कथा नुह जे कि आमर केंद्र मंत्री मध्य कहिसंती आज आमर जे इंडस्ट्री मिनिस्टर को जे केवल बड़ बड़ इंडस्ट्री निश्चित आसीबे ता सहित छोट छोट जो एमएसएमई सेक्टर रे मध्य अनेक ये संभार रही ताकू आज आम समस्त जिले में एमएसएमई पार करने वर्तमान सहजरे जमी जोगे देवाई सहजरे लोन हेबाई एवं से जो लोन नेबे युवक माने तांकर सुधर मध्य सुध हार को मध्य सरकार बहन करने आज समस्त प्रकार पदक्षेप नेउचंती तेणु मु समस्त युवक युवती मानक निवेदन करी निश्चित भाव में ओडिशा एक इंडस्ट्रियल हब हेबाकू जाउची एथिरे मध्य एमएसएमई रो भूमिका अत्यंत गुरुत्वपूर्ण रहिबो तेणु आसंतु समस्त मिसी एक विकसित भारत विकसित ओडिशा गठन दिगरे आमे संकल्प नेबा एवं यही सरकार जो लक्ष्य रही प्रिय मोहन माझींकर जो लक्ष्य रही प्रधानमंत्री जो लक्ष्य रही विकसित भारत से स्वप्न को आमे समस्ते मिसी साकार करवा धन्यवाद वंदे उत्कल जननी जय जगन्नाथ।
मंत्री महोदय गोटे जोरदार ताली अनेक अनेक धन्यवाद आपणकर प्रत्येक शब्द आपण प्रोत्साहन एवं आपणकर तत्वावधान रे स्टार्टअप ओडिशा निश्चित भाव में भल कार्य करुच्ची एवं विकसित भारत विकसित ओडिशार जो स्वप्न आप देखिंट आपण तत्वावधान निश्चित भाव में ओडिशा माटी स्टार्टअप ओडिशा आहुरी आगू बढ़ सफलतार पहाच निश्चय बढ़ सो थैंक यू सो मच विद अ ह्यूज राउंड ऑफ applause let's thank our honorable minister MSME department government of Odisha Shri Gokulananda Malik sir. With this we invite a young dynamic leader of Odisha honorable minister Odia language literature and culture department government of Odisha Shri Suryavanshi Suraj to kindly share a few words and address this gathering. Keep clapping for our honorable minister.
Jai Jagannath. Good afternoon. Honorable Union Minister of Education, Sri Dharmendra Pradhan ji, my colleagues from Council of Ministers, other esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Odisha. Welcome to the land of navigators, dreamers and doers. Welcome to the cradle of ancient maritime excellence dating back to the last 3rd BC. Welcome to the legacy of bold safe savers and vibrant trade routes that once connected to the shores of India to the Southeast Asia. From historic voyages of Bali Jatra to the rich tapestry of cultural exchange, Odisha proudly continues to carry forward its heritage of commerce, craftsmanship and innovation. Welcome to the land where Lord Jagannath blessings shower. Welcome to the land where tradition and transformation sail together. Friends, as I stand before you today, we are reminded the enduring legacy of Madhusudan Das, the first entrepreneur of Odisha 120 years back. He laid the foundation of industrial entrepreneurship in our state. His venture Utkarsh Plenary remains Odisha's first ever startup, blending elements of crowdsourcing and social empowerment, creating an impact that has lasted long. Odisha, from then to now, remains a land of opportunity and excellence, which converge, a place where seeds of innovation were sown, and those seeds have since blossomed into a thriving landscape of progress, ambition, and innovation. With the visionary leadership of our Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi ji, and Chief Minister Mohan Majhi ji, we stand on the threshold of making Odisha Utkarsh, one that serves as a beacon of excellence and beacon of progress. It is essential to acknowledge the incredible contribution of Honorable Union Minister Sri Dharmendra Pradhan ji, his commitment to fostering a robust ecosystem that has been instrumental in setting the stage for the entrepreneurial revolution we are witnessing today. Through the visionary 100 Cube initiative, Honorable Union Minister aims to establish 100 companies in Odisha, each with revenues exceeding 100 crore by the time Odisha turns 100 in 2036. This is not just a grand vision, it is a detailed and action-driven program that rolled out at IIT Bhubaneswar with clear timelines and outcomes. Honorable Minister envision making Odisha on the top of the startup destinations of India, and with his leadership, we are poised to soar to the top, emphasizing Chakiri Neba Nahi, Chakiri Deba. Odisha's potential to emerge as an Utkarsh state is immense. We stand steady. We stand ready to build the foundation of growth in sectors like education, healthcare, IT, semiconductors, security, mobility, hospitality, sports, culture, and youth resources. Looking ahead, with India's potential bid for Olympic 2036, Odisha has an incredible opportunity. Our vast coastline could become a hub for water sports infrastructure, providing a solid infrastructure, solid foundation for emerging startups. This not only supports athletics, but positions Odisha as a premier destination for adventure sports and sports tourism also. We are planning to create a sports economic zone in Odisha, designed to fast-track the growth of sports-related industries. This zone will be an engine of innovation, supporting sectors like sports equipment manufacturing, sports technology, fitness services, and more. By attracting both domestic and international investors, we will build a vibrant ecosystem that fuels business growth, drives innovation, and creates numerous opportunities for job creation. At the same time, we are excited to invite innovative startups to engage projects that will preserve and modernize Odisha's culture and heritage. Our initiative includes the development of e-libraries throughout the state, digitizing our ancient old palm leaf manuscripts, creating an ODIA AI interface, and establishing a translation academy. These projects will honor our roots while preparing Odisha for the future and preserving our identity while embracing the modernity. We are also in discussion with IIT Bhubaneswar Research Park to offer specialized support and resources to the startups, particularly those working in areas like education, sports, culture. Through the partnership, startups will receive the guidance, mentorship, and infrastructure needed to succeed in today's competitive landscape. In addition, we are planning collaboration with IIM Sambalpur to develop strategic marketing models, financial programs. These partnerships will incubate and accelerate the growth of emerging startups, helping them to succeed in both domestic and international markets. To the youth, I offer these words. The government stands as a partner on this journey. This is your moment to take full advantage of these incredible opportunities standing in front of you, to face the challenges ahead and to shape the future of Odisha with your ideas, with your visions, to make Odisha Utkarsh and to make Bharat Viksit. Thank you. Bande Utkal Janani, Bharat Mata Ki Jai.
A huge round of applause for our Honorable Minister for his encouraging words and kind words. We are grateful and thankful, sir. With this, we invite our promising leader of Odisha, Honorable Minister, Housing and Urban Development Department, Government of Odisha, Dr. Krishna Chandra Mohapatra, sir, to kindly share a few words and address this gathering. Keep clapping for our Honorable Minister and let's welcome him.
जय श्री जगन्नाथ। मान्यवर भारत सरकार आमर प्रिय मंत्री माननीय धर्मेंद्र प्रधान महोदय, ओडिशा सरकार मंत्री गोकुलानंद मल्लिक महाशय एवं अन्यतम मंत्री सूर्यवंशी सूरज महाशय, ओडिशा सरकार अर्थ सचिव शाश्वत मिश्र महाशय एवं चेयरमैन CII एस्टर्न सुवेंद्र कुमार बेहेरा महाशय, उपस्थित थिबा मान्यगण्य व्यक्ति, सम्मान्य उद्योगी, स्टार्टअप ओडिशा इनक्लबर सम्मानित सदस्य एवं आज एठारे उपस्थित थिबा आमर युवपीढ़ी, मीडिया बंधु एवं समस्त प्रशासनिक अधिकारी समस्त को ए उत्कर्ष ओडिशा 2025 रे स्वागत। उत्कर्ष ओडिशा कॉन्क्लेव रो एक गुरुत्वपूर्ण अवसर रे आपण मानक सम्मुख रे छिड़ा होई मो पई एक सम्मान एवं सौभाग्यर कथा। आज आमे सुजोग अभिवृद्धि और नवसृजन अर्थात इनोवेशन संपर्क रे आलोचना करबा पई एठारे एकत्रित होइछ। आम राज्य ओडिशा आज केवल समृद्ध संस्कृति और ऐतिह्य मध्य सीमित नहीं, यह स्टार्टअप हब पलटि। नवसृजन और नूतन चिंताधारा सह ओडिशा आज समग्र देश तथा विश्व को एक नूतन भविष्य आकार देउछि। ओडिशा नेतृत्व एवं प्रेरणा देवा क्षेत्र रे एक भिन्न दृष्टिकोण रही। यही दृष्टिकोण एक इकोसिस्टम तैयारी करने को जाउछि, जेउठारे उद्योगिता, प्रजुक्ति विद्या एवं नवसृजन प्रतिफलित हो पारिबो। आमे ओडिशा को एपरि एक स्थान रे स्थानित करिछु जेउठारे स्वप्न वास्तवता पाइबो, जेउठी प्रतिभार प्रतिपोषण होई परिबो, आउ जेउठारे व्यवसाय चिंताधारारू ग्लोबल ब्रांड रे परिणत होई परिबो। आम ओडिशार सरकार मान्यवर मुख्यमंत्री मोहन चरण माझी युव उद्योगी एभली एक परिवेश सृष्टि करिसेंती जेउठारे सेमाने सेमानकर स्वप्न को वास्तवता रे परिणत करि परिबे। आमे एपरि एक भविष्यत निर्माण करुछु जेउठारे ओडिशा प्रगतिर प्रतीक भाव रे उदाहरण सृष्टि करिबो। भविष्यत जेउठारे आमे स्थायी विकास स्मार्ट सहर निर्माण जहाँ जीवन गुणवत्ता एवं उन्नति को प्रोत्साहित करने सह इनक्लूसिव ग्रोथ को प्रोत्साहित करिबो, जेउथुरु प्रत्येक नागरिक लाभवान हेबे। एभली एक ओडिशा आज आकार नेबा को जाउछि जहाँ प्रत्येक नागरिक को लाभवान हेबो। आमर लक्ष्य स्पष्ट, ओडिशा को भारतर स्टार्टअप राजधानी करिबा। आमे भित्तिभूमि प्रतिभा एवं नव सृजन को प्रोत्साहित करुथिबा नीति गुड़िकरे निवेश करिबा जारी रखिबु। बेसरकारी एवं सरकारी क्षेत्र मध्य अधिक सहयोग को प्रोत्साहित करिबु, जहाँ पांठि पई अधिक सुजोग प्रदान करिबो एवं सहयोगिता को मजबूत करिबो। आमर स्टार्टअप गुड़ी को उच्च को नहीं जिबा। मु आज एठारे आपण समस्त को निवेदन करुछि, आसंतु ओडिशा को नवसृजन एवं सुजोग रे एक शक्तिशाली राज्य रे परिणत करिबा पई एक महत्व उद्देश्य सहित एकाठी काम करिबा। भविष्यत एठारे अछि एवं यह सृष्टि करिबा आमर दायित्व। आज आम पई एक ऐतिहासिक दिन थिला जोथि पई कि आज आमे समस्त एकत्रित होइछे एवं यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री प्रिय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी आज जो भली भाव रे ओडिशा प्रति तांकर भलो पाइबार प्रकाश करिसेंती ताहा आम समस्तक पई भविष्यत पई एक ओडिशा समृद्ध ओडिशा विकसित ओडिशा हबार परिकल्पना सृष्टि होइछि। ये समय सही समय आउ गोटे कथा मु स्पष्ट भाव रे आज कहबा को चाहूची जे एबे नहीं तो आउ केबे नहीं। एबे जो प्रकार सुजोग ओडिशा प्रदेश को आसीची, जो डबल इंजिन रो सरकार, ये डबल इंजिन रो सरकार रे यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी ओडिशा प्रति भल पाइबा। आमे कहूतिलु 7 मासरे 5 थर यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री ओडिशा गस्त, किंतु आज यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री कहले भारत वर्ष रे स्वाधीनता परे केही प्रधानमंत्री ओडिशा को एतिकी थर आसी नथिबे। सबु प्रधानमंत्री मिसिला परे मध्य सीए जेते थर ओडिशा गस्त करिसंती ताहा मध्य गणनाकारी कहले 30 थर से ओडिशा को गस्त करि सारिलेनी। तेणु तांकर स्पष्ट भाव रे प्रमाणित करुछि ओडिशा को आग को बढ़ाइबारे, ओडिशा को एक विकसित ओडिशा रे परिणत करिबारे, ओडिशा को एक समृद्ध ओडिशा रे परिणत करिबारे तांकर आग्रह तांकर आकांक्षा केते अधिक अछि। तेणु ये समय उपयुक्त समय, ये समय ओडिशा वासी पई एक सुवर्ण जुग कहले अत्युक्ति हेब नहीं। काहेकि ना एठी मध्य मोहन माझींकर सरकार एक लोकंकर सरकार एबे ओडिशा रे चलीछि एवं आर बिंधाणी से साजिछंती एवं आज ओडिशार आम समस्तकर प्रिय मध्य महामहिम राष्ट्रपति मध्य ओडिशारू प्रतिनिधित्व करुछंती, ओडिशारू से अछंती। एवं आज ओडिशा रे आम पाखरे जणे लोकप्रिय जननायक आम समस्तकर प्रिय नेता मध्य केंद्र मंत्री यशस्वी धर्मेंद्र प्रधान मध्य अछंती एवं तांको संगरे जुएल राम महाशय, अश्विनी वैष्णव महाशय एवं 20 एमपी 3 राज्यसभा। तेणु ये प्रकार सुजोग ओडिशा पुरे अछि, जदि एबे नहीं तो केबे नहीं। तेणु ओडिशा रे एबे जो सुवर्ण सुजोग आम पई आसीची ये युवपीढ़ी आसीची ओडिशार जनसाधारण आसीची ये सुजोग निश्चिंत महाप्रभु श्री जगन्नाथ आमको देवे आगामी 2047 रे ओडिशा प्रदेश 1 नंबर प्रदेश होइथिबो यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री जो परिकल्पना करिसेंती 2047 मसिया रे भारत वर्ष एक श्रेष्ठ राष्ट्र एक राष्ट्र बनिबो से श्रेष्ठ राष्ट्र रे ओडिशा मध्य श्रेष्ठ राज्य है छिड़ा आइथिबो 1 नंबर है सेठी छिड़ा आइथिबो ए आशा आकांक्षा मु निश्चिंत भाव रे रखुची एवं समस्त को पुरश्च ए उत्कर्ष ओडिशा रे योगदान देइथिबारु मो तरफ मु समस्त को अभिनंदन शुभेच्छा एवं धन्यवाद ज्ञापन करुची वंदे उत्कल जननी वंदे मातरम भारत माता की जय।
अनेक अनेक धन्यवाद सर आपणकर उपस्थिति एवं आपणकर प्रत्येक शब्द समस्त को प्रोत्साहित निश्चित भाव में करिबो बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। Odisha Startup Policy 2016 is a visionary initiative aimed at positioning Odisha as a global startup hub by fostering grassroots innovation, nurturing entrepreneurship, and creating an enabling ecosystem for startups. It emphasizes empowering the youth by providing skill-based training to inspire them to venture into entrepreneurship. Additionally, the policy underscores the creation of a robust institutional framework to ensure the effective implementation, monitoring, and evaluation of its provisions. The policy also emphasizes sector-specific incubators by providing various grants for startups and incubators. It's a time to release a newsletter that gives an insight on activities of Startup Odisha for the last quarter, that is October 2024 till January 2025. So I request our Honorable Chief Guest, Shri Dharmendra Pradhan Sir, and all the dignitaries on the dais to kindly release the newsletter. So here, the newsletter is being released, unveiled in front of you by our Honorable Minister of Education, Government of India, our Honorable Chief Guest of this inaugural session, Shri Dharmendra Pradhan, and the dignitaries on the dais. So we present before you the newsletter that gives an insight on activities of Startup Odisha for the last quarter, from October 2024 till January 2025. So here is the newsletter of Startup Odisha. Next, I request our Honorable Chief Guest and the dignitaries to kindly release the coffee table book of Startup Odisha. The coffee table book is being unveiled by Honorable Minister of Education, Government of India, Shri Dharmendra Pradhan, and the dignitaries on the dais. So this is the coffee table book of Startup Odisha. The coffee table book of Startup Odisha is unveiled, has been released in front of this gathering by our Honorable Minister of Education, Government of India, Shri Dharmendra Pradhan, our Honorable Minister of Government of Odisha. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everyone. Startup Odisha is formalizing Memorandum of Understanding, that is MOUs, with 9 strategic partners to advance and strengthen the state's startup ecosystem with the objective of positioning itself among the top 3 startup hubs in India. To exchange these MOUs with partners, I would request Shri Kamaljeet Das the Chief Administrative Officer of Startup Odisha, to kindly join us on the stage. So, a huge round of applause, and let's welcome Shri Kamaljit Das, the Chief Administrative Officer, Startup Odisha. He is on the dais to exchange the MOUs with our partners. Our first partner, HDFC. Startup Odisha is entering into MOU with HDFC Bank to offer startup-specific banking services like flexible current account, corporate cards, collection solutions, seamless forex and trade services for startups, though credit guarantee scheme for startups, customized group health insurance for startup employees, foreign currency accounts at Gift City, etc. to startups in the state. With a huge round of applause, let's invite on stage Mr. Sandeep Kumar, Branch Banking Head, HDFC, to exchange the MOU. Next, with a huge round of applause, let's welcome our next partner, Hero MotoCorp Limited. Startup Odisha, as a part of its corporate innovation program, is happy to announce the partnership MOU with the #1 two-wheeler manufacturer in the country, Hero MotoCorp, a public limited company who launched the Hero for Startups program very recently. This MOU would support the startups of the state with access to Hero MotoCorp Limited's innovation ecosystem, paid POCs and integration opportunities, mentoring technology and sustainability boot camps and business development. We welcome Mr. Utkarsh, Head Global Innovation Portfolio, Hero MotoCorp Limited, to exchange the MOU. Next, we welcome CII, Confederation of Indian Industry. Startup Odisha is happy to enter into a collaboration MOU with CII, a non-government, not-for-profit, industry-led and industry-managed organization which works to create an environment conducive to the growth of industries in India through advisory and consultative process. CII shall extend its support to the startups of Odisha to scale up their business through knowledge transfer, mentorship, market access, peer learning, financially informed decision making, and professionally supported leadership development. With a huge round of applause, let's welcome Shri Swayam Baral, CEO, Chairman, CII, Eastern Region Startup Subcommittee. Next, we welcome on stage Indian Institute of Tourism and Travel Management, IITTM. Startup Odisha is joining hands with IITTM, an autonomous organization under the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, to strengthen the tourism ecosystem of the state by nurturing startups focused on travel, hospitality, and tourism innovation, and to develop and implement capacity building programs for aspiring entrepreneurs. We are happy to have with us today, with a huge round of applause, let's welcome Dr. Mohammad Sabir Hussain, Nodal Officer of IITTM Bhubaneswar, to exchange the MOU. Next, we welcome on stage Hunch Circle Private Limited. Startup Odisha is happy to announce collaboration with Hunch, a company engaged in the Circle Founders Club, the Circle FC, which is a business accelerator and soft landing platform to help growth stage startups to scale up through focused mentoring, shared business, services, funding support, business connects, and global market access. The partnership would focus on scaling up Odisha-based startups suitable for international markets through tailored market entry programs focusing on developed markets across Asia, Europe, UK, and USA, and support Startup Odisha. So with a huge round of applause, we welcome Madam Nemesisa Ujjain, the Vice President, Innovation of the Hunt Circle. Now we welcome Transition Venture Capital. Startup Odisha is joining hands with TVC, which is India's first energy-focused VC fund. The fund is looking to support early-stage startups in sectors such as new energy, e-mobility, green hydrogen, energy storage, net zero energy building, and climate tech focused on decarbonization. The partnerships shall focus on identifying and supporting the sector-specific startups in Odisha through fund. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Shantanu Chaturvedi, Head Investment. Next we welcome on stage Opalus India Research and Development Private Limited, well known as OPPO. Opalus is inter alia engaged in the business of manufacturing, wholesale trading and distribution of mobile handsets and equipment marketing and incidental accessories, thereof under the brand name OPPO across India. Startup Odisha, in its endeavors to support startups in partnering with OPPO to specially focus on the deep tech startups in the state and creating an ecosystem to providing an opportunity to grow by being part of OPLUS future product roadmap. Huge round of applause, and we welcome Mr. Taslim Arif, Managing Director of OPLUS India Research and Development Private Limited. Next, we welcome on stage Masra Foundation. Masra is a global consulting firm based in Kerala, specialized in capacity building, innovation management, and strategic solutions for the startup ecosystem, supporting incubators, accelerators, corporates, and governments through tailored programs, due diligence, research, and global market access initiatives to foster sustainable growth, enhance innovation, and empower entrepreneurs worldwide. The objective of this MOU is to engage and work together to promote and support startups thereof in their growth journey. Put your hands together for Mr. Mittu Tigi, Director, Masra Foundation. Next, we welcome ACIC Git University Foundation. It is a not-for-profit organization formed by GIT Git University with support of Atal Innovation Mission of Niti Yog. Startup Odisha and ACIC GIETC are joining hands to carry out collaborative activities for promoting and financing technology-based entrepreneurship in the state and to provide a platform to startups and prospective entrepreneurs for converting their innovative ideas into commercially viable products. Put your hands together for Mr. Ravindra Yadav, Chief Executive Officer, ACIC GITU, to exchange the MOU. He's on the stage. Thank you so much, all the partners. Thank you so much, Kamaljit sir. So with this, it's a moment to welcome the man of this moment, who is well known as man of delivery, man of his words. Aji jaye Odisha ro samajiko, अर्थनैतिक शिक्षा दक्षता विकासर अभिवृद्धि पाई जे प्रमुख भूमिका ग्रहण करिसेंती सी जने एमिति व्यक्तित्व जे जो कथा कुहंती जो काम पाई कथा दियंती सेटा करके दिखांती और इन्हें हमारे यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ओडिशा का रत्न कहते हैं. It's a time to welcome with a huge round of applause the son of this soil, the man of this moment, Honorable Minister of Education, Government of India, Shri Dharmendra Pradhan.
Namaskar. Honorable Dr. Krishnan Chandra Mahapatra, Minister Housing and Urban Development, Government of Odisha, Sri Suraj Suryavanshi, Honorable Minister Higher Education, Sports, Youth Service and ODI Language and Literature and Culture Department, Honorable Minister Gokulananda Malik, Department of MSME and Fishery and Animal Husbandry, Sri Subhendu Kumar Behera, Chairman, CII Eastern Region and Vice Chairman and Managing Director of RSB Transmission, Sri Shashwat Mishra, Principal Secretary to Government of Odisha, Finance Department, dignitaries from different part of country, ambassadors, high commissioners, VCs, fund, accelerator, mentors and successful startups, different part of country, especially from Odisha. My dear young friends, friends from the media, I am happy to share some thoughts with you on the sideline of Utkarsh Odisha, the ambitious leapfrogging steps of double engine government, the new government of Odisha. The people has reposed their faith on Prime Minister Narendra Modi during last general election, especially in our state. People has reposed their faith for both union government and provincial government. With this background, with this backdrop, now we all are here to celebrate the future roadmap in the banner of Utkarsh Odisha. I congratulate Sri Mohan Charan Majhi, the popular Chief Minister of Odisha, and entire his team for successfully organizing this event, this program. Friends, for me, this is not only a program. We all are here to commit ourselves in the 21st century, in the century of knowledge-based economy, in the century of new ideas. We have to envision the Purvodaya. We have to implement the bright spirit of Purvodaya. Purvodaya is the science. God's Son in His mother earth every day rise from eastern part of the world. And we Odia people, we Odishan people, we are fortunate to be the eastern part of the country and the eastern side of the entire globe. With the blessings of Lord Jagannath, this state has a long history of trade, commerce and industry and of new ideas. In the 21st century, in the midst of the Industrial Revolution 4.0, as a vibrant society, as a young society, we have our aspiration and responsibility. Today morning, Prime Minister Modi rightly said, we have double AI. AI stands for artificial intelligence, but AI also stands for aspirational India. For Odisha, for Odia people, we have two targets. By 2036, we will be completing our 100th year of our state formation. And by 2047, we will be completing 100 years of our country's independence from the colony rule. This generation, we all are fortunate to celebrate two centenary, two historical occasions which are ahead of us. With this target, what did we do? What should we do? Today, more than 500,000 investment commitment has been signed or discussed in the sideline of this Utkarsh Odisha conference. Captain of Indian industry are here, talking to them, to appealing to them. Prime Minister Modi rightly point out a point. सारे ऐसे बड़े उद्योगों की माध्यम से हमें एक नई उद्यमियों का दुनिया बनानी पड़ेगी. We have to create a new ecosystem of new wealth creator. There is a basic difference between old wealth creator. They inherited a legacy. They inherited wealth from their family. They are fortunate. We must encourage them. we must invite them to our state. We must facilitate through policy deregulation. They should create wealth, they should create employment, they should create fortune to our state. But simultaneously, as a living society, as a vibrant society, as a forward-looking society, our primary challenge how to create a circular economy. हमें वो सारे बड़े बड़े अपेक्षाओं को हमारी घर तक कैसे पहुंचाए, हमें समस्त संभावना को ओडिशा रे बांधी रखिबार उपाय बाहर करबा पई पड़िबो. This is our commitment, this is our strategy. We have to ponder over in the next few days. Friends, I'm happy today Startup Odisha successfully signed some important MOUs with its partners. MOU signed with VCs, MOU signed with mentors, MOU signed with bankers. This is a right track. But what is the necessity? हमें क्या करना चाहिए एक स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम को बनाने के लिए? Some days back, one of my ambitious Odia friend told me, "Sir, do you know the history of Stanford? Do you know the history of the Silicon Valley?" Silicon Valley, Stanford, these are two vibrant points. We have to find out which is the egg, which is the chicken. With the collaboration of an ecosystem surrounding Stanford University, with some affordable housing, America successfully gives shelter, give opportunity to millions talent in that part of the world. जब युवा लोग एक अफोर्डेबल शहर में, एक छोटे शहर में अच्छे पढ़ाई के उपरांत अपने भाग्य को तलाशने के लिए काम करेंगे, समाज के निर्माण के लिए काम करेंगे, उसी में से ही नवाचार होगा. From a teaching university that became a research university that leads to create an innovation ecosystem. I personally feel I have traveled around different parts of the world, almost all the states of the country, but I am confident Odisha has the right spot for a new age idea-based economy that we call today startup economy. Today in our country, more than 1.5 lakh startups are there. अभी सुबह हमने एक बर्नर में देखा 2024 में लगभग 1 लाख से ज्यादा आइडिया पेटेंटेड हुआ है. आइडिया हैज कन्वर्टेड टू पेटेंट. मित्रों, अगर मैं माय यंग फ्रेंड्स फ्रॉम द लोकल गवर्नमेंट, आई एम हैप्पी दे हैव फायर इन देयर बेली, दे आर एम्बिशियस. किंतु मु बंधु मानक गोटे कथार स्पष्टता देवाई चाहे. आज भारतर 1.5 लाख स्टार्टअप रु ओडिशा रे केते अछि तार आत्मसमीक्षा करिवार भी समय अछि. हम जब एक लंबी छलांग की तैयारी करेंगे, हम कहां खड़े हैं, where do we stand today, that we have to analyze ourselves, retrospect ourselves. Today we are not in a very good, if you go by the numbers, but if you go by the some trends, some examples, friends, I know some of my young friends in Odisha, those who have created wonders. Today I read an article, I read a news item in the newspaper. One of the startup Odisha, Milk Moo, Milk Mantra, is a startup, I will say, created by a ODIA entrepreneur. Now today I come to know he is pitching that company to market and someone is taking over that company with a good up. I hope it's a good price. बंधुगण एटा भी ओडिया पिला मैंने करिकी देखे सारे. I am proud of our CII Eastern Zone Chairman, Mr. S.K. Behra. I think he is a Odia entrepreneur, fast generation entrepreneur. Tata gave them opportunity. Tata Motors gave them opportunity. He said, from a small startup, today they are a company of billions. Friends, we must have ambition. We have three advantages. भुवनेश्वर के आसपास में, भुवनेश्वर में IIT है, भुवनेश्वर में एम्स है, भुवनेश्वर में उत्कल यूनिवर्सिटी है, भुवनेश्वर में बीजेपी कॉलेज है, पास में कटक में रेवेन्शा यूनिवर्सिटी है, यही एग्रीकल्चर यूनिवर्सिटी है, उड़ीसा में IIM है, उड़ीसा में NIT है. Since last 10 years, we are coming up as a new idea, new age economy. Since last 10 years, we are doing excellent in the digital economy. Youngsters are involved. Lot of good models have come up in the society today. I saw a startup in Odisha, a IT company who is running the traffic, the movement of driverless car in the USA. The company is operating from Odisha. It's a startup. I saw a startup few months back in Odisha. It's a law firm. Friends, startup doesn't mean only you have to produce something, you have to create something. My simple understanding of startup is आपको एक नवाचार, एक इनोवेशन के ऊपर उसकी मोनेटाइज की प्लान करना पड़ेगा. मित्रों, I saw a law firm in Bhubaneswar. I saw a law firm in the Bhubaneswar who have a turnover of more than 3 to 4 crores. His clientele is all over world. He is extending legal service to the different corporates in the different country. The boy is a startup from Odisha. उड़ीसा में सारे संभावना है. मित्रों, जो बाहर से आते हैं, मैं तो आज की इस शुभ अवसर पे आपको अपील करना चाहता हूं. Those who have with the invitation of state government has invited you to explore Odisha. I assure you one thing on behalf of the Odia society. पिछले दिनों में प्रवासी भारतीयों में मेरे एक अनोखा अनुभव हुआ. जो भी बाहर से हमारे अतिथि आए थे, उनके मन में एक ही विषय था. We have traveled different part of our country, but Odia people are best among all of them. Why? They are explaining. They explain. क्योंकि हमें यहाँ के लोग हिंदी नहीं बोल पाते हैं. They are not good at English, but they are very cooperative. If you ask any question to them, they will answer you in a right direction. वो आपको गलत नहीं बोलेंगे. आपको इधर उधर की आप रास्ता पूछोगे, एयरपोर्ट से निकल के हमें बाणी विहार जाना है, वो आपको खोर्धा नहीं भेजेंगे, वो आपको पुरी की तरफ नहीं भेजेंगे, वो आपकी कटक की तरफ भेजेंगे. ये सर्टिफिकेट उड़ीसा की एसेट है, उड़ीसा की पूंजी है. उड़ीसा में मेहनत है, उड़ीसा में ज्ञान की कैपेसिटी है, उड़ीसा में नम्रता है. मित्रों, कभी मेरे पॉलिटिकल मेंटर श्री अरुण जेटली जी ने मेरे को एक मंतव्य दिया था. उड़िया समाज को दिखते हुए कहा, यू डोंट हैव एनी मेजर रिसोर्स. यस, आई हैव टू एडमिट दैट. ऐसा नहीं था पहले. हमारी समाज एक समय में सीफेयर होके दुनिया में अनेक इलाका में जाके संपन्नता लेके आए थे. आज वो स्थिति नहीं है. लेकिन उड़िया लोगों के पास इंटेलेक्चुअल कैपेसिटी ही पूंजी है। आज टाइम आया है इस आइडिया को एक प्रोडक्ट तक पहुंचाने के लिए। भुवनेश्वर में स्टेट गवर्नमेंट की ओर से सभी प्रकार की मदद की एश्योरेंस आपको दिया जा रहा है। यहां आपको एक कल्चर मिलेगी, यहां आपको एक एम्बियंस मिलेगी, यहां आपको मेंटर्स मिलेंगे। और मैं बहुत आभारी हूं दोज VCs, funds, they came here, they took pain, they came here to Odisha. My esteemed friends, I assure you, your faith, your trust on Odia society and Odisha government, हम सभी प्रकार की मेहनत करेंगे, अथक परिश्रम करेंगे, आपके पैसे को ग्रोथ करके आपके पास लौटाएंगे, आप फिर हमारी सोसाइटी में और इन्वेस्ट करोगे, यह हमारा पूरा विश्वास है। मित्रों, ओडिया लोगों में मैं अंत में एक ही बात कहूंगा, यहां नम्रता के अभाव नहीं है। पिछले दिनों में हम लोगों ने यहां एक प्रयास किया था। अभी मेरे उड़ीसा के आदरणीय मित्र ने कहा, सूर्यवंशी सूरज ने कहा, वी हैव एम्बिशियस प्लान व्हेन आवर स्टेट विल बी सेलिब्रेटिंग इट्स सेंटिनरी in 2036. By that time we should have 100 cubes. What does it mean? हमें 100 उड़ीसा के अंदर से, उड़िया होना कोई जरूरी नहीं है, उड़िया होने से सोने पे सुहागा, लेकिन उड़ीसा में रजिस्टर करते हुए 100 कंपनी यहां की लोकल ROC में रजिस्टर हो, जिनकी रेवेन्यू 100 करोड़ हो। 100 कंपनी, 100 करोड़ की रेवेन्यू और 100 साल की पूर्ति के अवसर पे यही 100 क्यूब्स की लक्ष्य लेके उड़ीसा गवर्नमेंट उसको एक पब्लिक मूवमेंट के रूप में काम देगा। आज तो हमारी स्टार्टअप की संख्या उड़ीसा में 2,500-3 हजार तक है। 2016 की एक पुरानी पॉलिसी है। आई एश्योर्ड द यंगस्टर्स ऑफ द कंट्री, come to Odisha very soon. Today I have talked to our Honorable Chief Minister. He assured me, I talked to the departmental minister, he also assured me, very soon Odisha will come out with a new startup policy of 2025. 10 years ago we had a startup policy. Now with discussing all the stakeholders, हम सभी स्टेक होल्डर्स को, विशेष करके युवा मित्रों को, मित्रों आज भारत की चुनौती क्या है? इंडिया इज गुड एट सर्विस इकोनॉमी, इंडिया इज वेरी एक्सीलेंट इन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इंजीनियरिंग एंड दैट बेस इकोनॉमी, बट इंडिया नीड्स डीप टेक. वी नीड टू क्रिएट मोर टेक्नोलॉजी एंड भुवनेश्वर इज ए राइट प्लेस. Here we have a IIT, we have a AIMS, we have a OEOT, we have a university, and we have a cluster of good quality educational institutions by Government of India and Government of Odisha, and also some important private universities. Friends, this is a talent pool, low affordability, and there is no dearth of mentors in this part of the country. और मैं आप सभी की सहयोग से आने वाले दिनों में हमें एक ही लक्ष्य को लेकर काम करना है. जब भारत विकसित हो रहा होगा 2047 में, मैं निश्चित रूप में उड़ीसा की यंग मित्रों की जो अपेक्षा है, उड़ीसा को आज प्रधानमंत्री जी ने भी हमें आश्वस्त करके किया है. भारत सरकार हमारे साथ पूरा है. There is a new approach in Government of India. Government of India is encouraging all round to encourage the startups. 1 लाख करोड़ रुपया की R&D फंड बनाई गई है भारत की उद्यमियों के लिए, इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट के लिए, कि आप इस लो कॉस्ट लॉन्ग टर्म एक प्रकार से अनुदान ही है, आप उसको लेके जाइए और आप R&D में खर्चा करिए. उस R&D के आइडिया को बल कौन देगा? बल हमारे यंग रिसर्चर देंगे। आने वाले दिनों में हमें आम मान को गोटे दायित्व नवार आवश्यकता अच्छे। बंधुगण जदि ये बसी ओडिया पिला मान को मु पचारि मोटे प्रश्न पचारि आपण मानू आपण मैंने मत सहयोग करेंगे आपण मैंने रोजगार दबा पसंद करेंगे ना नबा पसंद करेंगे देबे ना नेबे चाकरी देबे ना नेबे देबे ना नेबे ओडिया पिला चाकरी दब रोजगार तैयारी करिबो ओडिशार नुआ पीढ़ीर दायित्व नब ए प्रकार अपेक्षा रखी स्टार्टअप ओडिशा को सफल बनईमा धर्म पदर बलिदान को व्यर्थ हवा पाई दबा नहीं। जो जगार आमर विज्ञान उत्कर्षता थिला जो जगार नौ वाणिज्यर पराकाष्ठा थिला जो जगार सामरिक शक्तिर अत्यंत साहसी शक्ति थिला से जगार आउ थरे वी हैव टू recreate an ecosystem in the beginning of the 21st century. Confidently let us come together and place by mid of the 21st century, when we will be already completing our 100 years of our statehood and independence of country's independence, and we will celebrating 100 years by 2047. India, especially our Odisha, एक मजबूत निडर आत्मविश्वासी राज्य के रूप में लेगा। उसके लिए मैं फिर एक बार आश्वस्त करता हूं, मुख्यमंत्री जी की ओर से मैं आश्वस्त करता हूं आपको, उड़ीसा में जल्द ही एक नया स्टार्टअप पॉलिसी आएगा और आपसे चर्चा करके आएगा। आपको क्या मदद चाहिए? फंड भारत सरकार बनाई है, वो इस राज्य सरकार, हमारे वित्त सचिव वहां बैठे हैं, our finance secretary is here, he is very benevolent. By last 8 months, I can assure you, in 2 sectors, in the women empowerment, we have promised we'll give a boost in the circular economy. We'll give 10,000 rupees to poorest of the poor women in our state. Already to 8 million women, already we have given 4,000 rupees of fast installment. By March end, this amount will be 10,000 crore rupees our finance secretary has provided. State, 2 days back, Niti Aayog has come out with the prudent financial condition of our state. Odisha today is the number 1 in the financial management in our country. In the second program, government of Odisha is giving improved assistance to farmers. I assure you on behalf of Odisha government, after talking to our Chief Minister, same cooperation, same incentive, similar kind of, I can't assure about the amount. It has to be planned, it has to be discussed, finalized after your inputs. But I assure you, there are certain policies, there are certain incentives. Our new policy will have more incentive to create a startup ecosystem in our state. Thank you, friends. Let us come together to create a Vikasit Bharat and Vikasit Odisha. Thank you, friends.
Thank you so much, sir. Always your words and presence has been enriching and encouraging. Thank you so much. Got a jordar tali. मान्यवर मंत्री महोदय आमर मुख्य अतिथि किंतु आपन को बहुमूल्य समय दी आमर कार्यक्रम आज आप शुभारंभ करिसेंती तेणु अनुरोध करी I request Shri Gokulananda Malik, Honorable Minister, MSME Department, Government of Odisha, to kindly felicitate our chief guest, Shri Dharmendra Pradhan, Honorable Minister of Education, Government of India. As a token of gratitude, we are thankful to Shri Dharmendra Pradhan for gracing our occasion, for inaugurating Startup Odisha plenary session. So I request Shri Gokulananda Malik, Honorable Minister, Government of Odisha, to kindly felicitate Shri Dharmendra Pradhan ji. A huge round of applause for Honorable Minister of Education, Government of India, Shri Dharmendra Pradhan. Thank you so much, sir, for making this inaugural session much special. Now I request Shri Saswat Mishra, IAS Principal Secretary to Government Finance Department of Government of Odisha, to kindly felicitate Shri Gokulananda Malik, Honorable Minister, MSME Department, Government of Odisha. आपन को अनेक अनेक धन्यवाद. आज आमर ए कार्यक्रम रे उपस्थित रही निज शब्द एवं निजर उपस्थिति जरिए समस्त को उत्साहित करिसंती. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद माननीय मंत्री महोदय श्री गोकुलानंद मलिक. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. I continue to request Shri Saswat Mishra to kindly felicitate Shri Suryavanshi Suraj, Honorable Minister, Odisha Language, Literature, Culture Department, Government of Odisha. आपन को मध्य अनेक अनेक धन्यवाद मंत्री महोदय. बहुमूल्य समय बाहर करी आज आपण आम गहन रे उपस्थित रहिले. अनेक अनेक धन्यवाद. Now I request Sashwat sir to kindly felicitate Dr. Krishna Chandra Mohapatra, Honorable Minister, Housing and Urban Development Department, Government of Odisha. Dr. Krishna Chandra Mohapatra, Honorable Minister, Housing and Urban Development Department, Government of Odisha. We thank you, sir. अनेक अनेक धन्यवाद. आपण आम कार्यक्रम रे उपस्थित रही आज आमर प्लेनरी सेशन रो शुभारंभ करिसंती. I continue to request Sashwat sir to kindly felicitate Shri Subhendra Kumar Behera, Chairman CII Eastern Region and Vice Chairman and Managing Director RSB Transmissions Limited. Thank you so much, sir, for being a part of this inaugural ceremony of Startup Odisha Plenary Session. Can we have a huge round of applause for the dignitaries on the dais? Now I request our Honorable Minister, Shri Gokulananda Malik, to kindly felicitate Shri Sashwat Mishra, IAS Principal Secretary to Government, Finance Department, Government of Odisha. A huge round of applause for Sashwat sir. A huge round of applause for our Chief Guest, Shri Dharmendra Pradhan. A huge round of applause for Dr. Krishna Chandra Mohapatra, Shri Suryavanshi Suraj and Shri Gokulananda Malik, and we thank Shri Subhendra Kumar Behera for joining us and inaugurating Startup Odisha Plenary Session. Thank you so much to all the dignitaries on the dais. With this, a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, to thank as a token of gratitude. We really thank you and we are grateful for being a part of our inaugural session. Thank you so much, sir. Shri Dharmendra Pradhan, Honorable Minister of Education, Government of India. Shri Gokulananda Malik, Honorable Minister, MSME Department, Government of Odisha. Shri Suryavanshi Suraj, Honorable Minister, ODIA Language, Literature and Culture Department, Government of Odisha. Dr. Krishna Chandra Mohapatra, Honorable Minister, Housing and Urban Development Department, Government of Odisha. Shri Subhendra Kumar Behera, Chairman, CII Eastern Region and Vice Chairman and Managing Director, RSB Transmissions Limited. And we are thankful to Shri Sashwat Mishra, IAS Principal Secretary to Government Finance Department, Government of Odisha. Thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of this plenary session, inaugural ceremony. Now we move on. We request everyone to kindly take your seats because we are about to start our plenary session right now with our star speakers, moderators and speakers for different sessions. So we request all the audience, the participants, our invitees, VVIPs students, everybody to kindly be seated for our plenary session. Arambha baku jauchi Startup Odisha ro plenary session जोंथरे आमे विभिन्न टॉपिक को नेकी आलोचना ए मंचरे करिवा एवं आम पाखरे आम गहणरे स्टार स्पीकर्स माने अछंती जो माने तांकर अनुभूति ए मंचरे बांटिबे एवं स्टार्टअप को नै तांकर यात्रा आपनका सामने रे रखिबे. We have our star speakers who will be sharing their innovative ideas, their journey and their experiences. They will share ideas with all of you, so we request everyone to kindly be seated and be a part of Startup Odisha plenary session. We are about to begin. As we know,
I was actually in Vigyan Bhavan 9 years ago in January 2016 when the Honorable Prime Minister revealed the Startup India mission, and standing in the hall that day, I was really struck by the enormity of the moment. I had actually already been a founder for 9 years by the time the Startup India mission was launched by the Honorable Prime Minister. And when I started in 2007, there was nothing known as a startup in our country. It was either you joined a family business or you, just did a job. So this whole concept of going and building something big without any capital from your family, any savings that you have, taking money from someone else was unheard of. And we've come a long way as an ecosystem since then. We are now the third largest startup ecosystem in the country. We have hundreds and hundreds of Indicons, which is companies that are profitable and over 100 crores of revenue, obviously many, many unicorns as well. But India's transformation is much more profound than just these headline numbers. Currently, out of the 788 districts in India, 779 already have startups. This number in 2016 was only 120 districts which had one or more startups. And we are no longer focused on metros for the growth of the startup ecosystem. We have startups across the country, also in the smaller towns and cities. In India, there are now 160,000 DPIIT registered startups and many, many more that are in various stages of growth. And the government has played a very, very significant role, actually a stellar role and a profound role in this journey, because DPIIT has consistently championed many causes of startups. They've taken various initiatives, for instance, the SIDBI 10,000 crore fund of funds, which has thereafter invested in 140 VC funds, domestic VC funds, who have then deployed 20,000 crores in the startup ecosystem. Another powerful enabler has been the Self-Reliant India, the SRI fund of funds managed by the NSIC that has successfully engaged in enabling a 50,000 crore corpus for equity infusion towards MSMEs. So many of these initiatives are enabling manufacturers, technology providers and startups in various parts of the country and the economy to flourish. I've had the privilege to be an investor in over 300 companies over the last 13 years, and I've realized that the startup ecosystem has now not only spread geographically across the country but across sectors as well. Now you have startups focusing on agriculture to AI, new age brands to fintech, from SaaS companies to marketplaces. So every possible business model is untouched by startups now, is no longer untouched by startups. In recent months, I've had the opportunity to be a judge on this popular show called Shark Tank. And during the shoot, I was struck by the fact that there are startups from the smallest corners of the country. Particularly, there are startups from Cuttack and Bhubaneswar and many small towns from Odisha as well. And it is so impressive that the founders are no longer limited to thinking about, oh, something has worked in the US or something's worked in a big city in India, let me replicate that for my city or state. They are thinking of products and services that can cater to the entire country or the entire world. Odisha actually has a wide range of impressive startup stories. The companies like Bonvi Aero, a deep tech drone startup, Nexus Power, a startup which is building manufacturing rechargeable, bioorganic and biodegradable batteries, Manitsu Agro, which is a startup building sustainable goat farming ecosystems, and Inocule Materials, a mineral processing startup that is looking to increase the yield of minerals from ore. So there are lots and lots of startup stories now in Odisha as well, and this is very encouraging. There are, of course, many more startup stories from Odisha. Those are encouraging the adoption, the solving of local problems and leveraging local opportunities. But they will likely, over a period of time, build national and global solutions. I'm also happy to note the untiring efforts by the Odisha government in promoting startups in the state. There are already 2,100 startups in Odisha across IT, healthcare, biotech, agriculture, education, fintech, amongst other sectors. The initiatives in supporting startups by the Odisha government go beyond just setting up an O-Hub, which is very impressive, but also giving allocation in government procurement, reimbursement of patents, and cash support for product development and marketing. The 26 incubators supported by Startup Odisha is also very impressive initiatives. Being in Odisha today reminds me of the magnificent Konark Temple. Its grandeur, science, and scale showcase what brilliant minds can achieve. And hopefully, as we head towards Viksit Bharat, the startup ecosystem in Odisha will be a new age Konark Temple, a temple that will support us, guide us, and take us into the next phase of India's growth. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Can we have you back on stage, Sir Shri Kunal Behel? So we take this opportunity to thank you and felicitate you on this platform, and we are thankful for your presence. So I request our volunteers to kindly felicitate Shri Kunal Behel, co-founder, Snapdeal and Titan Capital and promoter, Unicommerce. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. It means a lot. Thank you, Shri Kunal Behel. With this, we begin with our panel discussion. The first topic for the session is Odisha, a land of opportunities. To moderate this session, I invite on stage Shri Adil Zaidi, Partner and Leader, Economic Development Advisor, Ernst & Young LLP, We invite on stage the panelists, Shri Sashwat Mishra, IAS Principal Secretary to Government, Finance Department, Government of India, Government of Odisha, Shri Subhankar Pati, CEO, Professor in Charge, Startup Center, IIT Bhubaneswar, Shri Swayam Prakash Boral, Managing Director, Swadesh Infra Marketing Private Limited, Shri Ganesh Satyamurthy, Partner Eartha 99 Investments, Dr. Santosh Matthew, Country Lead, State Systems and Partnerships, Gates Foundation, Shri Shantanu Chaturvedi, Vice President, Investments, Transition, VC. So our topic for this panel discussion, for this session is Odisha, a land of opportunities. We have with us as a moderator for this session, Shri Adil Zaidi, Partner and Leader, Economic Development Advisory, ENY, LLP. We have with us Shri Sashwat Mishra, Shri Subhankar Pati, Shri Swayam Prakash Baral, Shri Ganesh Satyamurthy, Dr. Santosh Matthew, Shri Shantanu Chaturvedi. So with this, the platform is over to you, Shri Adil Zaidi, sir.
Hello. Very good afternoon. Welcome back for our panel discussion. I'm honored to have such an esteemed panel here on the dais. We have representation from the state government, we have representation from the educational institutes, we have representation from the various startups that are working in this space. My name is Adil Zaidi. I am the moderator for this session. It's very difficult to moderate such a vast experience of panelists here in 30 minutes time, but we'll definitely try to do justice with the expectation from this particular panel session. Just to give a background, way back in 2016 when the Odisha Startup Initiative was announced by government of Odisha, it was seen as one of the smallest babies in the northeastern region. And when the Startup Growth Fund was created with a 100 crore initial corpus, there were hardly any takers. But over the last 5 years, and especially in the last 1 year, the things have changed drastically in the state cap. So today we have about 270 startups that have been recognized. We have more than 350 financially supported startups where the 35 crores out of money has been disbursed to these startups. And we have various sector-specific startups that have raised funds. Just to give the glimpse of the fund that has been raised by the sectoral startups, we have fintech startups that have raised about US 18 million in last 2 years' time. Similarly, the healthcare services startups have raised more than 7 million US dollars. And also the high-end startups in the tech space like Drone, Educate Tech, they are doing fantastically good. So now going forward, my to-do is to basically seek whatever the best opinions that we may have from our panel speakers. And I will start my first question with Mr. Subhankar Pati, who is the CEO, Professor in Charge, Startup Center, IIT Bhubaneswar. Does he have a mic? Okay, sir, my question is that we have seen the Prime Minister talking about the role of educational institutes. Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan also mentioned the Government of India initiative on bringing the educational curriculum in the startup space.
You can't hear. You can't hear.
So I could barely hear you. It's echoing. I could barely hear you what you said.
Okay, just a second, please.
No, is this one better, I guess? Is this one better?
No, it's also echoing. I think we need to say. बहुत कुछ सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है यार, बहुत इको हो रहा है, कुछ सुनाई नहीं दे रहा। इको हो रहा है माइक को, इको वो सुन नहीं पा रहे मेरा सवाल। All of them are echoing.
Hello? This one is better, I think.
They are not able to listen to it. Echo हो रही है।
Check.
My apologies for this 2 minutes delay because of the technical issue. I was saying that my first question is to Mr. Subhankar Pati, who is the CEO, Professor in Charge, Startup Center, IIT Bhubaneswar, where in the morning session we have heard that Prime Minister was talking about the role of educational institutes in making the startups doing better and what kind of a technology we can bring to the sectors. And especially what the Honorable Minister was talking about in the second session, that most of the startups, when they go for the maturity curve, majority of them, they could not see the year 2 or year 3. So my question to you, sir, is how IIT Bhubaneswar or similarly institutes like IIT Bhubaneswar are thinking on hand-holding those startups so that they are seamlessly moved toward the maturity curve and basically become, over the period of time, the unicorns of the world.
Thank you. Okay, so it's a fantastic question actually. So he said what is the role of educational institutes and how IIT is doing its bit to take these startups, go through the valley of death and come out alive, right? So it's a difficult task. I mean, every technological startups would go through this. We at IIT are providing through this 100 Cube initiative, we are providing mentorship support, we are giving fundings as and when required, shared facilities. Of course, the best part of this being in IIT system is when the startups get access to the students, IIT students who are supposed to be the best in the world, right? So these kind of timely intervention would help the startups to overcome the valley of death. Of course, the nature of startups is such that they would go through multiple failures, but eventually they have to come out, and the supports the educational institutes can give in terms of mentorship, mostly because of the faculty members we have. We have excellent lab facilities, the 100 Cube initiative that was talked about a few minutes ago. It's a fantastic initiative. Last year when I met we went to actually the education minister, that honorable education minister, that okay, a lot of startups are going, they will go to Bangalore or Hyderabad, where there is a much mature startup ecosystem. He said, okay, let's do that. Like, no, he pumped, the education minister pumped in around 130 crores to IIT to start this 100 cube initiative. Right?
Mr. Pati, I think that's a very valid point that the educational institutes, they need to continue investing in the R&D, especially in the tech areas like AI, robotics, clean energy. And also the industrial academia collaboration is the key going forward. We have seen that Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan talked about the Silicon Valley as well as the Stanford University, how the academia and the industry linkage has benefited the environment of the startup ecosystem in the US. Moving on, my next question is to Mr. Swam Prakash Baral, who is the Managing Director, Swadesh Infra Marketing Private Limited. Sir, my question to you is that how private sector players enable startup to scale across Odisha? We have seen governments are playing role, but what do you think the private sector initiatives, that CSR funds, how we can basically bring that nuances from the private sector industry for the startups to mushrooming from day one to basically becoming the 5-year journey in the going forward?
Hello.
Okay, I request everyone to kindly come forward. जो माने पछरे बसचंदी से माने आगु को पड़े आसंतु इस सेशन रे हम स्पीकर्स माने को कथा सुनिबा पई. So we request everyone who is sitting behind kindly come forward. Sir, would you like to use cordless microphone?
Good evening, everybody. Thanks, Adil, for asking a very valuable question, particularly because I am also representing CII, which is also largest industry body, and I'm part of the subcommittee which is taking care of startups. So, like we heard a classic case just few minutes before, how one startup 50 years back started from Jamshedpur is now one of the leading manufacturer in the auto component sector. It's because one private entity, Tata, that time provided, facilitated and had the confidence on that startup, and rest all followed. Now it is history, it's a 50-year-old large industry now. Now, at this particular stage, when like Odisha, we are rich with minerals, no doubt, but we have steel sectors where we have all the leading steel manufacturers present in this state. Then come to the next point is aluminum. We have all the leading aluminum manufacturers here. Now, based on those large sectors who are producing aluminum or steel, there are a lot of ancillary industries, potential is there, starting from producing a can to an aeroplane component of a critical component of an aeroplane or space mission or a satellite. Everything is possible to manufacture here. And this can only be done if the large industries start putting their faith into the startups who are eager to do something, innovate products, improve current products, and come out with solutions which are addressing. Now, for me, startup ecosystem can be done in two different ways. That's a natural way entrepreneurs come up. Then another thing is that there are problem statements present in the society or industries, and somebody comes forward to address it through solution, through a service, or through a manufactured component. So now there are in CII, we keep receiving problem statements of the companies, and we try to share it with incubation centers present across India. And we try to see if any startup can come forward with a solution. Like that, there are mentoring services which also we are providing. And mainly the private sector who are industry leaders, who have done significant things, who have understanding, they come forward and mentor the startups. So both ways, there is a role of private sector, large industries, where they can facilitate, handhold, and nourish startups. So it's a sea of opportunities for both startups and also private sector to contribute in that field. And I am looking forward, in particular in Odisha, if you look at the sectors I have already mentioned, and no doubt the service sector is, startups numbers are pretty high here, but there is a lot of potential in manufacturing sector, which is like our petrochemical hub we are making, Paradip has the potential. In Jharsuguda, we can look for the aluminum component manufacture, and it can be supported by both the large industries present in the aluminum sector there, Aditya Birla Group and Vedanta. So like Kalinganagar, we can think about iron and some auto component manufacturing hub. So it's plenty of opportunity, and I think this is something that to be initiated from the large industry side. Thank you very much.
Mr. Baral, thank you very much. I think it's a very valid point for private sector to bring the know-how for the startups to grow. Moving on, money is important. Startups are here to make money and vice versa. So from where the money would come? And we have seen, and one of the big questions what we have seen is that in an initial stage of incubation of a startup, there are very few takers who basically ready to go for these investments. So we are honored to have Mr. Ganesh Satyamurthy, who's a partner Artha 99 Investments. So he's the man who has a deep pocket to invest in the startups, and we have so many startups here. So my question to Mr. Satyamurthy is, what trends are you seeing in the startup ecosystem in Odisha, and how can these investments be facilitated in a better or a ROI going forward to the sectors that are coming up in the state of Odisha?
Namaskaram everyone, Jai Jagannath. So it's a privilege to be here amongst all the dignitaries. Okay, so I feel that, as a venture capitalist, we get all the limelight. Okay, it is like being a hero in the movies. Okay, where the hero gets all the limelight, but you can see the real creative mind behind it, or the directors, choreographers, cinematographers, script writers, like that, etc. So I think the real heroes behind our venture capital ecosystem are the investors, the people who believe in the India story, the government of India who has funded us, and the entrepreneurs, okay, who are actually setting up the company and doing the hard work of doing it. So we are the facilitators, but somehow we get all the limelight, and we are thankful for that. Right? So let's just take a moment to acknowledge the investors and the entrepreneurs who make this system, okay, a fantastic system. The question asked is where we are seeing the trend going now. Okay, so I think to answer in one word, I feel the one word is manufacturing. Okay, India is today around a $4 trillion economy. Our government has a grand vision that by 100 years of independence, we will be a $30 trillion economy. So that is about the size of America, which we are going to add in the span of next 20 to 23 years. And if that big of a growth is going to come, so we strongly feel, and all studies indicate, that it's coming from manufacturing sectors. Earlier there was some kind of a perception that manufacturing is not a venture capitalist appetite. It is more of a big ticket investment. But today that is changing. If you look at the outlook of any venture capitalist for the next funds they are going to launch in the next 2 years, 3 years, manufacturing is predominantly present as an investment scenario. Okay, I think a big trend, manufacturing across sectors. Okay, especially in Odisha, I think it is more aligned with the natural resources they have, minings, steel, to do with the coastal region, to do with fisheries, agriculture, and relating to that, it is a big advantage here. Okay. And to add one more layer, right, how we can facilitate. The government is already doing its job. Okay, they have a fund of funds, and then they are organizing events like this that is helping us to connect with the entrepreneurs as such. Okay, but I think one very important thing, people have already highlighted is the, I think it is the partnership between the government, the incubators and the educational institution. I think that is very, very important, especially led by, people like IITs and IIMs of the world. Their role in this is very important. Okay, so in South India, there's a common name, Vidya Lakshmi. Okay, so Vidya Hamaisha, Lakshmi ke pehle aata hai. And Lakshmi always comes with Vidya. So the knowledge is very, very important. Okay, so as long as we keep the research and development going, we keep that educational partnership going, that is a key to the success. Recently, the central government has made a policy, ONOS, One Nation, One Subscription, which will enable all the people to get the research papers across the world at a very, very reasonable subscription. I think this will go a big way in how research and development is done. We need more policies like this. And to add one other point, right? Once a startup starts making revenue, one of the challenges they face is that when they go to a big customer, when they go to a corporate customer, even when they go to a PSU, even though a GEM portal is available, there's a challenge. Okay, the PSU or the corporate says that, no, you're too small for me. I want a bigger vendor. Okay, can you fulfill my requirement? I think there should be some policy around this, at least in government and government-led companies, to encourage to buy more from startups, to give them an even playing field with other bigger vendors. If you are making a good product, if you are making a good service, then the size should not stop you from doing that. They should be given a chance and opportunity to delivery. These are the places where policymakers can really help a lot. And these things, partnering with the educational institution, giving them a good playing field is there. And then definitely it is Odisha and all other states and India will definitely take forward. We will achieve our dream. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Satyamurthy. As you rightly mentioned, manufacturing is continue to be the startup game changer going forward. But my 2 cents here is that if the startups here and the students here, if they basically see manufacturing in the sustainability as well as the renewable sector, because we have traditional sectors in Odisha like metals and mining, but going forward the sustainability as well as the renewable is going to be the major focus area for the VCs, for the national importance as well. Moving on, my next question is to Dr. Santosh Mathew, who is the country lead Gates Foundation. Being a part of the global organization, what do you think that Odisha can contribute in the global footprint in the startup ecosystem, and how foundations like yours can help in creating that kind of a system for the startups?
Thank you. Let me start by applauding the government of Odisha for this great gathering, bringing together people and promoting startups. I have 3 suggestions to offer to the government of Odisha and a promise that if they would like to act on these 3 suggestions, we at the Gates Foundation would be more than willing to support the government in these 3 ideas. The ideas are, number 1, shifting all queues that you see in government medical facilities from physical queues to virtual queues. If you recollect, the days in which we used to go to a railway station to buy a train ticket, we actually had to stand in a queue to buy a ticket. Very often pay a tout to be able to jump the queue, and maybe even produce a reservation when none existed. The same opportunity today is available for the more than 1,000 government facilities, tertiary, secondary, primary, and the 4th dimension, teleconsult. Imagine a world where startups founded in Orissa are actually given access through APIs, application programming interface, the appointment slots for all 20 services that are provided in government facilities. Services for teleconsult, face-to-face consult, physiotherapy, chemotherapy, dialysis, dentistry, all 20 services. All you have to do is slot them and make available those slots in a platform in the same way that IRCTC did for train bookings, and make them available to the startup ecosystem to actually triage the care seeker, build the case history, and enable them to book a slot. There are multiple things that are going to happen as a consequence. You can have government facilities, you can bring in government empaneled private facilities. You've just signed up with PMJY, Government of India. You can bring in private hospitals that are not even empaneled by you, in Odisha, outside Odisha. A lot of people travel for super specialities, even outside maybe. But just imagine a world by which all of these are slotted and made available, shifting from physical queues to virtual queues. The consequence of this is that immediately the quality of healthcare provision in Odisha will go up, because along with this, the proliferation of electronic health records in these facilities that are ABDM compliant, Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission compliant. You can transform Odisha's health system, private and public, into one that is world class by building on this. So the first idea is use the power of digital queuing, the power of triaging, and the power of appointments to elevate the health industry in Odisha, private, public, as well as startup. The second idea that I have to offer is about offering platform services, again in the health sector, to private operators who need to procure medicines, equipment, and such other things. I do not know how many of you know that the National Cancer Grid, a group of around 80 hospitals in India, came together and attempted joined up procurement. They were able to reduce the cost of medicines by 80% of the MRP. That's the kind of margins that manufacturers are having to give to the distribution system because of the cost of customer acquisition and the cost of securing payments. If you can encourage startups in Odisha to come together along with your private, both small clinics and big hospitals, to come together and build a platform that not government will own, but they will own. But the assurance would be that if an order is placed on this platform, then all manufacturers would be able to bid for it on this platform, but that's already being done. That's not the key thing. The key thing is that the payment would be digitally triggered. When the conditions of payment have been met, the payment would be triggered. There is no need to go running behind small players to try and secure this payment. So what you will then do is that startups will get yet another avenue to show their capabilities. The cost of provision of healthcare will come down, and that will have a significant contribution to building a healthier Odisha. The third and final idea I have to offer is that the government of Odisha today, minus debt repayment, has a budgeted amount of 2,43,908 crores. Finance Secretary is here, I may have got my numbers wrong. This is a phenomenal amount. Imagine if all services that Government of India, Government of Odisha would buy, if the payments for these could be assured through, again, a digitally orchestrated orchestrated system of payment where certainty is there. So normally what happens in government files is that if there are 21 conditions for payment, somebody would certify that each of these 21 conditions have been fulfilled, and the file would be put up to somebody like Shashwatji, say, may kindly approve payment. What is being argued is that that signature is an accountability signature. Remove that signature, digitally orchestrate it, and let the people who are certifying individual components, let them be individually responsible for their certification. You can imagine how sharp the locus of accountability would be. But what is the consequence? 2,43,908 lakh crores of payments that government of Odisha would make, and some of them even to startups. They would become certain, they would become transparent, and this could be used as a way to turbocharge the economy of Odisha and therefore the startup system. Thank you very much for your patience.
Dr. Matthew, thank you so very much. I absolutely agree that capacity building for rural entrepreneurs as well as providing support for the tech, healthcare and educational startup is the key. And if we really want to see that Odisha needs to have a global footprint, a global contribution, these are the areas where we need to work upon. Moving on, my next question is to Mr. Shantanu Chaturvedi, who is the Vice President, Transition VC. Another man who's having money, and his point of view is we have to see what is his point of view related to how the Odisha is carrying on with its investment potential in the startup ecosystem, and what are the sectors that we need to basically see which are emerging globally where the VCs like him are more interested, and education institutes can also play an important role to bring that ecosystem for the startups in Odisha.
Thank you, Adil, for this question, and thank you, Startup Odisha, for having me here speaking at this stage. So, before I answer that question, I'd like to introduce myself. I am Shantanu. I'm part of Transition VC. We're a climate and decarbonization focused fund, and so I would like to speak a little bit from the climate and decarbonization perspective. So, when we look at Odisha we talk about the opportunities in Odisha, there are a lot of things that Odisha as a state can do to address climate as the major threat that it is today. So, to start off with, Odisha has massive potential in the renewable space. So there's ample amount of sunlight. There is, as our Prime Minister pointed out, a massive coastline that Odisha is blessed with, and the entrepreneurs rather in Odisha can look at solar value chain, can look at the wind value chain, can design, optimize solutions for renewable integration at a better scale, which is more suited to Odisha and its climate. So there is a true need for contextualization of wind, solar, energy storage resources across the state, which will make the state self-reliant from an energy independence perspective, as well as bring technology and innovation from a renewable energy perspective to the state. And then that technology can be scaled to other states, to other nations, even globally. And then the second sector that we can look at is the manufacturing sector. Again, there's a lot of manufacturing in Odisha. There is steel, there is cement, and proximity to large steel and cement plants. So entrepreneurs, startups can look at the perspective of decarbonization of industry. How do we make industry more efficient? How do we make industry reduce its carbon footprint, reduce its carbon emissions, and how do we recover waste heat? How do we optimize more solutions? How do we add renewable and storage to the local Indian industry keeping in mind profitability, because in India, especially in the manufacturing industry, a financially viable business model coupled with a reduction of carbon emissions is the key. And I think contextualization and local entrepreneurs have the best opportunity to actually understand the needs of the local industry and provide a solution with a financially viable business model and a reduction of carbon footprint and reduction of carbon emissions. And then finally, I'd like to say semiconductor is something that the nation is moving towards, and I think Odisha should not be out of that race. I think Odisha also should look at various opportunities in semiconductor, and when I say semiconductor, I don't mean your typical processors and CPUs and GPUs, because we believe that there are already very large established players in the field. But what entrepreneurs can look at are the peripherals, can look at power semiconductor, can look at everything that comes in between a processor and a switch, which is resistors, capacitors, USB ports, and various other things, which is a whole semiconductor layer that needs to be addressed by the complete nation today. So to sum up, Odisha has a strong opportunity in renewables, a strong opportunity in manufacturing and in semiconductors, with a solid need for contextualization and then scaling on to other states and other nations. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chaturvedi, you are absolutely right that in continuing in the space of rural tech startups, manufacturing, semiconductor is something which Odisha needs to take up in the next scheme of things. With 197 engineering college, 33 universities, all the raw material availability, like its water, its demographic dividend, I think Odisha is poised to take up in the semicon space. And my request to the principal secretary here as well as the decision makers here, then when we look at the new policy, this is something we need to give impetus upon. I would request Mr. Pati to come here again just for another 2 minutes, because I've seen so many youngsters who are sitting here showing lots of interest in the startup here, and also the VCs, the startups sitting over here. I would like you to basically just tell to the youngsters that what is the industry academia linkage that the institutions here need to look upon, and when the students who are sitting at the back side of the auditorium, when they choose their course or the stream, what things they can ask themselves as well as the institutions like yours to help them to enter into the startup ecosystem space.
Thank you. I'll take 2 more minutes. So I already hear the music going on. So, but it's a very relevant question actually. So, what course to take? It's a very relevant yet very difficult question. I mean, if you are in some point of your career, IITs all generally have short-term courses like recently we have started one course on electric vehicles, considering the need of the industries in electric vehicle sector. Like semiconductor was pointed out, we have a short-term course on VLSI as well at IIT Bhubaneswar. Time and on we start, recently there was one course started for advanced maintenance technologies and product development and innovation. So these are the courses some students from who are already in some form of career can take. But if you talk about students who are just starting their career in after 12th or something, it's a very difficult question in a sense that you have to follow your passion. Many times it does not happen, but when I was a student, it was also very difficult. We took, because everybody was taking engineering, we also jumped in. But over time, you kind of, in engineering, you find a passion, whatever you want to do. So late in my career, I found out that entrepreneurship is what interests me. So I took up on that. So these, maybe you should decide very early on, that will help, that what you want to do. It's a bit of a philosophical question, but my suggestion would be to take up any, be it engineering, medical or arts or liberal arts, anything, whatever feels like you can make a career out of it and if that's your passion. But in a sense that about mid-level taking course, there are a lot of certificate course available everywhere. IITs do it, other colleges also do it. So if you want to shift to that line, you probably pick up those areas and learn a bit. And I mean, AI is a big thing these days happening, and almost every college has one AI course. Semiconductor, electric vehicles, these are the things that, renewable energy of course. So these are the things you can look up so that you can make a career which has some future in next 20-25 years. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Party. I think the advice to our young friends is follow your passion, tweak it with the emerging sectors, idealize the people who have got success, try to replicate those successes in your career as well. But the key advice is follow your passion. Now it's time for us to have my chief panelist of my panel, Mr. Saswat Mishra, who is the Principal Secretary to Government of Odisha, who is holding charge for Finance Department. Sir, my question to you is, Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan told about that the Odisha is going to have the new startup policy in 2025. Being a finance head of the state government, you have seen how the performance of 2016 policy is all about. You have seen the national programs, your performance in the Startup India. I would like you to I would like to request you to tell the audience here and seek their point of view also. What are the broad parameters of the Odisha 2025 policy, and how we can make it a game changer, a set trender for the other states to follow upon?
The new startup policy, of course, would be state government's decision. That I am not a party to that, because that would come up through the MSME department. Had I been a party to that also, I perhaps couldn't have divulged that before the state government really announces that. But I would put it in a different way, that what startups want from the state government through the new policy. Some positives, some negatives. Let me first address the negative side. Everybody wants government to give more money to them. Every policy, if you see, our policies are financially more lucrative than their previous counterparts. That's one way is fine, because with inflationary pressure and with states' finances improving, okay, state government becoming more liberal in giving grants is all right. But what the startups should not do is to rely totally on the state government grant. In fact, as I said in the previous session's welcome remark, yesterday we had a meeting with Indian InsurTech Association, because as I stated that time, government is trying to make Bhubaneswar the InsurTech hub of India. So we were having a meeting with the InsurTech Association of India. Their president had come, and they are basically startups. Currently it is a 250 odd entities association, and most of them are startups in fintech sector, and they are thinking we don't want government grants. In fact, I don't know, the VCs, the angel investors, etc., they don't rate a company, they don't rate a startup very high if it has grown with government grant, because then they say it is a risk that is associated with this company's growth. If government grant stops, someday government grant will definitely stop. If government grant stops, the business falls. So therefore he said, sir, don't give us any grant. Create the enabling infrastructure, create the enabling ecosystem, so that we would compete with others. Because what advantage Odisha gives to the startups or anybody vis-a-vis the more established places like the metros or other states? we actually don't have that kind of advantage. So give that benefit to us by subsidizing our ecosystem, by subsidizing our enabling infrastructure cost. The business operation we are capable of doing, and we will do it much better than government expects. So that is one thing I would expect in the new startup policy. Yes, of course, government grant would be there, government hand-holding support would be there, but also government would expect the startups to stand on their own leg. Before becoming finance secretary, I was MSME secretary for 1.5 years. That time I was dealing with startup. Non-startup MSMEs also I was dealing with. And I have told so many MSMEs that don't bank the success of your business with government assistance. Don't expect that you produce something and tomorrow government will procure everything. That MSME is solid, that MSME would be successful, or that startup would be successful who rises without government support. If government support comes, that is an additionality, that is a bonus. But don't bank your model with government support. So that we would expect from the startups. Regarding 2-3 genuine issues our startups are facing. One is of course access to capital. Of course banks are now coming forward. Like today, Startup Odisha signed an MOU with SDFC Bank. SDFC Bank is perhaps going to create a product for financing product to finance the startups with easier documentation and lesser parameters, and perhaps 1% or 2 percentage point softer rate of interest. So that is one thing the policy should address. Second genuine problem that some startups are facing is marketing their product in the initial phase. Because it is a startup, it is a new concept, it is a new product or new process or a new service, there aren't many takers initially, in the initial phase of the first batch of production and etc. So there perhaps through the new policy, government can come up with some assistance that wherever the products or services are useful to government service delivery system, government perhaps can procure something as an assistance to the startup in the initial 6 months to 12 months period. So that would be helpful to the startup. So from that they would catapult into the next stage. So this is something that in the new policy the startups are expecting from the state government. And I would just, if you don't mind, I would just take that question also. Somebody said ki what course students should undergo to be a startup and etc. But you have rightly answered, just follow your passion. You don't have to be an IT guy. You don't have to be a fintech fellow. You don't have to be a science graduate. You can be anything. You can be a non-graduate. You can be a school dropout. If you have good idea, if your eyes and ears are open and you catch a good idea, then you can be a successful entrepreneur. Whether you are a startup or no startup, that's a different story. You can be a successful entrepreneur. Just now I met one of the startups of Odisha. They perhaps call themselves Dahi Vada Express. So Dahi Vada is a famous street food in Odisha, and with that Dahi Vada Express, they are taking that famous Odisha street food into a cafe mode kind of business operation, and they are now they have taken it to outside Odisha, and now they are planning to take it to international level. So for that you don't have to be a STEM graduate, you don't have to be a fintech guy. So just follow your passion and create something. My last piece of advice is, you should not hold up to your startup too long. Also have the ability to find that whether you are growing or stagnating or failing. If you are failing, my advice would be fail faster. Fail faster, abandon that project, catch up another project, try it out. If it is not coming out, again fail faster, go for another thing. It depends, of course, it is easier to say this. Depending on your financial ability, you can venture it out to 3-4 kind of new ventures. But if it doesn't succeed, settle down with some job somewhere, some business. Don't waste too much of your time. But yes, I have seen that many people hold on to their concept for pretty too long. So thereby they lose their money, they lose their spirit, and they lose their innovative frame of mind. So that after 4-5 years, when they abandon that project, they become extremely dejected, desperate, hopeless. So don't do that. Somebody said that 9 out of 10 business initiatives fail. Yes, that is all right, but fail faster. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. As I look to the future, the Odisha startup vision is bold and clear. I have drawn down the 7-point agenda, what we believe with the key takeaways from this particular session, and that will help Odisha position its global footprint as a global startup hub. So first is the strengthening the funding system. The second is promoting global connectivity. It's very important. We need to be at the pace where the global guys are going. We need to have expansion in the infrastructure. Odisha is just not about, the startup is not about Bhubaneswar. We need to go to the rural areas. We need to basically create mindset for the rural entrepreneurship as well. We need to have sector-specific focus. Whatever the traditional sectors that are working for last 20 years may not work for next 20 years. So we need to see what are the global emerging trends and keep abreast ourselves with the conventional sectors and bringing new sectors in place. We need to basically foster the culture for entrepreneurship. There is no shame to basically fail in this particular space. The pain will definitely give the gain. So have that culture of entrepreneurship both at the academia level as well as the industry level. The Odisha 2025 policy is going to further strengthen the policy framework for the startup ecosystem. And the last is we need to continue celebrate innovation. With that, thank you so very much. A big round of applause for all my 6 panelist members here. My name is Adil Zaidi. I am a partner with Ernst & Young, the consultant to OHUB, signing off from here. Thank you very much. Have a rest of the day fruitful to you.
Thank you so much to all the speakers and the moderator. I request Startup Odisha officials to kindly felicitate the panelists and the moderator of this session. Our first panel discussion was on Odisha, a land of opportunities. So I request our Startup Odisha officials to kindly felicitate our speakers and the moderator of the session. The panelists were Shri Sashwat Mishra, IAS, Principal Secretary to Government, Finance Department, Government of Odisha. Shri Subhankar Pati, CEO Professor in Charge, Startup Center, IIT Bhubaneswar. Shri Swayam Prakash Baral, Managing Director, Swadesh Infra Marketing Private Limited. Shri Ganesh Satyamurthy, Partner, Artha 99 Investments. Dr. Santosh Matthew, Country Lead, State Systems and Partnerships, Gates Foundation. Shri Shantanu Chaturvedi, Vice President Investments, Transition VC. We thank all our panelists and our moderator for the first panel discussion of Startup Odisha plenary session. So the speakers, the moderator, all of them are being felicitated by the young Startup Odisha officials. Thank you so much to all the panelists and the moderator of the session. Thank you so much, everyone. Our first panel discussion was on the topic, Odisha, a land of opportunities. And we thank our panelists. Thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of this session. Thank you so much. time for a group picture of the panelists and moderator of the session, first session. With this, we will move on with welcoming our star speakers. Next on stage, two star speakers to come onto the stage are Bhaskar Majumdar sir, co-founder and managing partner, Unicorn India Ventures, and we welcome on stage Shri Ratan Lahiri, senior advisor, Unicorn India Ventures. With a huge round of applause, let's welcome everyone, Shri Bhaskar Majumdar and Shri Ratan Lahiri, to join us on the stage. The star speakers are here to talk about their journey, the innovative ideas,
Unicorn India Ventures, an India-focused venture fund that invests in technology startups in the country. With me today is Bhaskar Majumdar, co-founder and managing partner, Unicorn India Ventures. Bhaskar Majumdar and Anil Joshi, his co-founder, started Unicorn India Ventures in 2016, and we are now at the cusp of closing the third Unicorn India Ventures Fund, UIV Fund 3. This is a $150 million fund that has been raised both in India and internationally, primarily in the US. And every rupee, dollar, pound, euro that this fund has is being invested in Indian startups. And of this, we have made our first investments in Odisha, and Bhaskar will talk a bit about it later. But let me just go on a bit in terms of what we have seen, in terms of the Indian startup ecosystem and what is happening in the world outside. Because as we went about raising this fund, we spend about 5 months of the year in the US every year. And of course, our principal home being London, that's where we spend a lot of time in Europe and in India. And everywhere, India is looked at with awe and wonder. We are asked, what makes India unstoppable? We firmly believe India is unstoppable, and that's for many, many reasons. Number one, ideation and wealth creation is not limited just to a Mumbai or a Delhi, the national capital region, or a Bangalore. Today, ideation and wealth creation is coming from every nook and corner of the country. And I think that is also what Mr. Bell was talking about a little while earlier. We see the same trend as well. 2/3 of our investments at Unicorn India Ventures come from what we call progressive cities. Others would call tier 2, tier 3. We call them progressive cities, and fast catching up. Number two, deep tech. We've heard this word a couple of times today. And India, we are very thankful to Wipro, Infosys, TCS for putting India on the world IT services industry map. But India has moved much beyond that. And today, India is a deep tech market. And we from Unicorn India Ventures have just invested in our first startup, which is a brilliant startup called Orbitate. We have a number of other deep tech startups, including the state of Odisha. Number 3, competitive federalism. You know, it is amazing to see this entire Utkarsh Odisha conclave and to see this happening in state after state in India. You know, you just see that, you know, in what way states are competing for one another's, you know, for funds, for investment. You know, we have a lot of push and pull from places like Texas and Arkansas and California in the US saying, bring your Indian startups to our state and we will give you XYZ incentives. Today, that is happening in India, you know, and that is why, you know, you see that this is all in the right direction. Number 4, you know, dynamism. You know, Dharmendra Pradhanji, Cabinet Minister Pradhanji spoke a little while earlier about Silicon Valley and Stanford, you know, and which came first, the chicken or the egg. Believe you me, you know, yesterday we went to visit a startup in near Bhubaneswar. We went to CV Raman Global University. I saw the Atal Tinkering Lab, the Atal Innovation Hub and the lab there. I saw the young people there, you know, here in Odisha, and this is happening all over the country. And you see the dynamism, the belief, the self-belief, you know, and what is powering the India of today. This is why, you know, India is unstoppable. And last, but there are so many other things that I can talk about. But I would like to end with saying pride in country. When I first visited the United States of America, you know, nearly 3 decades ago, I was struck by the patriotism of people there. I remember standing at, you know, and hearing people sing the national anthem. And I said, how must people believe in their country to be able to sing like this? And today, I see that in every child, every individual in India. You know, the gentleman who drives us in Bombay, you know, our driver G, his son is studying French. And I said, why French? And he said, because our country is doing, देश इतना विकास कर रहा है, आज मुझे सिर्फ हिंदी और इंग्लिश से नहीं, एक और भी भाषा सीखना चाहिए, so that वो देश का उन्नति करे, खुद का उन्नति करे. That's the spirit. I was talking to one of my juniors from IIT Kharagpur a couple of days ago. He's a very senior IPS officer from UP cadre, now at Harvard, you know, pursuing, you know, a 2-year on a year study break from the government of India. And he was saying all he wants to do is come back to India and dedicate the balance 20 years to working in AI, in policing in India. When you have belief in the country at every strata, you know, like this, don't you think India is unstoppable? So I just want to end by saying this, that, you know, we are a vast country. We are a beautiful country. We also have deep culture and heritage. And as I saw the presentations today and yesterday, this morning and later today, you know, earlier today, in terms of what Odisha brings, you know, what the country brings, you know, we have so much to offer the world in terms of our just in a copycat fashion, but we will lead the world with our years of history and heritage, with our spiritual legacy, you know, with who we are as a country. So I end by saying, Utkarsh Odisha, Viksit Bharat, Jai Hind. I hand over to Bhaskar.
Thank you, Ratun. I would just like to take a brief minute to introduce our fund. As Ratun said, we are now in our 3rd fund. Totally, we have invested in over 50 startups in India, and we have invested over 1,600 crores in the various startups. We position ourselves as what we call the first institutional investor. Way back in 2016 when we started, we were among the first funds to start investing outside the 3 hubs of NCR, Mumbai, and Bangalore. Today, of the 50 startups we have, 2/3 of these startups are from what we internally call progressive cities and what's referred to by by most people as tier 2, tier 3 cities. And the analogy I keep giving is growing up in the 70s and 80s India as I did. If you remember, at that point in time, the Indian cricket team was represented by people from exactly these three hubs: Delhi, Bangalore and Mumbai. Fast forward today, the Indian cricket team has players from smallest towns and cities festered throughout India. I can see an exactly similar movement taking place in the startup world. And today, the whole startup scenario is ubiquitous throughout the length and breadth of the country. Of course, we know that COVID, the change in the cloud computing, all of this has helped startups to come from different places. But the real thrust has been, as Kunal earlier said, the government's thrust in terms of creating the Atal Tinkering Labs throughout the country in well over 700 districts of the country. 9 years ago, the Prime Minister's clarion call of Startup India and his constant messaging that for India to be a Viksit country, it has to be a country of job creators rather than job seekers. The same thing that Minister Dharmendra Pradhan said earlier. There are some interesting facets which I want to speak to all the founders that are present there in Odisha. What we have observed is that most founders in quite a few of the tier 1 cities or the typical technology hubs, they come up with an excellent technology and then they are looking at a used case for the technology. While we see that in places like Bhubaneswar, in what we constantly term the progressive cities, the founders see a real life problem and they use technology to solve the problem. So for us as VCs, this becomes a very interesting proposition because no longer is the product market fit taking a long time. Also, another point I must say is founders from places like Bhubaneswar are true entrepreneurs. Funding or no funding, they believe in building the businesses, and when bad times come, they morph their plans, change their business models, conserve cash, and do everything that it needs to succeed. As a fund, we have deep deal sourcing capabilities throughout the country, and we have investments from Cochin, Trivandrum, Ahmedabad, Hyderabad, Pune, Jaipur, Indore, and of course, Bhubaneswar. Here we have worked very, very closely with Startup Odisha for the last 4 years or so, and we have 3 investments across diverse industries over here. We have invested in a company called Orasure, which is led by Akanksha Priyadarshini, a company which is fast emerging as a global leader in creating an AI platform for the climate tech market. We have recently invested in Xsure, again run by a brilliant scientist, Abhishek Datta, and they are presently being incubated in Tokyo. It's a biotech company which uses a nanotechnology for cancer cure. And finally, we are close to closing our 3rd investment this week in Bonvi, which is a defense tech company providing transport solutions in inhabitable terrains, led by Satya Bahiha. 3 separate companies, 3 distinct industries, and all the 3 in deep tech coming out of Bhubaneswar. We have been one of the earliest funds investing in this state, and we are committed to invest around 80 to 100 crores in the Odisha startup over the next 3 to 4 years. Finally, taking the message that earlier the Finance Secretary said, failures are a part of life, for the startup journey. I end by extolling all founders to carry on their dreams, daring, without fearing failures. As I keep saying always, only businesses fail, entrepreneurs never do. Thank you and have a lovely 2 days at Utkarsh Odisha. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Shri Bhaskar Majumdar and Madam Ratun Lehri. So I request our Startup Odisha officials to kindly felicitate Bhaskar sir and Ratun ma'am on stage. I request our Startup Odisha officials to kindly felicitate Shri Bhaskar Majumdar, co-founder and managing partner, Unicorn India Ventures, and Madam Ratun Lehri, senior advisor, Unicorn India Ventures. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us for Startup Odisha plenary session. Shri Bhaskar Majumdar and Madam Ratun Lehri. So we also thank Madam Ratun Lehri for joining us. She is a senior advisor for Unicorn India Ventures, the star speaker of the session. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you very much. So we are thankful to our star speakers. Next, we move on to our next panel discussion. The topic for next panel discussion is Women in Innovation, the future of startup evolution in Odisha. The moderator of this session is Shri Ninad Karpe, the founder and partner, 100x VC. We welcome the moderator of the session, Women in Innovation, the future of startup evolution in Odisha. The speakers for this session are Madam Anupam Nidhi, Head Corporate Social Responsibility, Vedanta Group, Madam Madhumita Agarwal, CEO and founder, Open Electric, Madam Sarika Saxena, Managing Partner, Indian Angel Network, Madam Dipti Panda, Co-founder and Director, Innocresta Consulting, Professor Sashmita Samanta, MD cum Chairperson, Sustainable Outreach and Universal Leadership Limited, Madam Dharitri Patnaik, Founder, Jivada Ventures Private Limited. We welcome on stage Madam Surekha Rautrai, Founder, Arshit Nutritech Private Limited. So women power on stage, and we talk about women in innovation, the future of startup evolution in Odisha. Everyone put your hands together for the women on the dais talking about women in innovation, the future of startup evolution in Odisha. To moderate this session, I request Shri Ninad Karpe to take over.
Chip, chip, hello, chip. chip, chip, chip.
Okay, good afternoon. Can you hear me, all of you? Yeah, so I'll try and do it from this chair only. Good afternoon, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with a rock star panel. The topic is very relevant. My son has told me, don't argue, don't say anything. You're on a panel of women, you're talking about women, so keep quiet. It's echoing. I should go there. Sorry about that. There is an echo over there. So my panelists cannot hear what I'm saying. So just for that, let me get going. So we are running late, so I'll try and make it short and sweet. But I'm not going to let go without each one of you giving your very best in a 3-4 minute response so that everyone gets a chance to speak. The topic is Women in Innovation, the future of startups in Odisha. So it's women and Odisha. That's the topic, not general India. So let's try and focus. Let me give a brief introduction, not to brag about myself, but I'm a founder and partner at 100X. For the last 5 years, we've done 180 investments in startups, early stage. We have seen a lot of pitch decks, and there's one particular trend I have noticed, which you might find it interesting. We are seeing a lot more pitches coming from tier 2, tier 3 cities, and a lot more from women co-founders. 5 years back, we probably had just 10-12% women co-founders. Now it's reaching 18-20%. It's not good enough, but it's increasing gradually. So that's the statistic. That's what we are seeing. We get 8,000 to 10,000 pitch decks every year. So we've seen a lot of pitches. So let me get on straight with the questions, and all you young girls and boys behind, please pay attention. Something they say might just change your life. So I'm going to ask each and everyone to just speak for probably 3-4 minutes, and they are going to bring out the very best. So I'll start with Madhumita, and of course the most relevant question always is to a woman startup founder, and I think you're a second-time founder. How difficult was it, or how easy was it? Let me put it in the positive sense, because they always say, how difficult was it? What are the challenges? And all the girls there behind, please listen to her carefully. What is 1 or 2 things you can tell them if you're a girl, woman founder? Yeah.
A very good evening to everyone, and thank you so much for having me here. And I think it's very exciting to share my journey, and that too in 1 or 2 minutes. So I'm founder of Oben Electric, which is an electric motorcycle manufacturing company. Women in automotive, that itself raised a lot of eyebrows. So the first challenge, which I faced, my first company was into R&D consulting, R&D services. Again, a tough sector, women in R&D. And the only option I had to prove everyone wrong that yes, don't see me as a woman, see me as a problem solver. See me as an entrepreneur who is solving a problem, who is providing some service and meeting the needs of the customer. I think to every woman out there, I would say that first question that as a woman, whether you will be able to do this is what you have to prove it wrong. You have to focus on solving what you are solving, and if you bring value, the women effect that you are a woman, whether you will be able to do it or not, that will take a back seat. And I think that's the first problem, or I would say first, hurdle, which I think most of the women sitting here in the panel must have faced that. But we have come a long way now, and we see so many women here, and there are so many students who have come here taken that courage to come here and kind of be part of this startup, initiative. My second, problem, very big problem was I was into automotive and EV. And as an industry, we are very new, right? As ICE or as a petrol industry, we are very, very large. But as an EV industry, we are just, just warming up. The ecosystem was very new. I faced a lot of problem in identifying certain critical components and vendors. And that's where the hurdle came in, that you have to do everything yourself or take something which is off the shelf. So I chose not to take anything off the shelf. Only reason that what I wanted to build an electric motorcycle which is equivalent to a 150cc segment will not meet the needs by using off-the-shelf components. So I'm very proud to say that I'm among very few companies in India which is completely vertically integrated. What means that I solved the battery problem, making the battery in-house. We solved the motor problem by making motor in-house. And you have to just navigate that. And I think that is what the only, last word I would leave with by saying there is solution to every problem. Just don't settle that, okay, this is available, it's an easy way, just don't go by it. There will be a new problem in, whenever you wake up and you are up to the office. So I think you have to navigate that, and that journey is very exciting and very challenging though. And I would say, welcome to entrepreneurship world. It's altogether a very, very different, world. But it makes you a very different individual. It makes you a very different person. So I would wish everyone all the best and just don't settle. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. I think the girls there behind must give her a big round of applause. Being a woman in a EV space, not easy at all. And she said some very interesting points. Bring value, don't settle down, keep at it. Thank you, Madhumita. And I move on next to Anupam Nidhi. She's head CSR at Vedanta. Her question is, how can large corporates mentor and empower women entrepreneurs in Odisha? And I'm sure she has a lot of points, but maybe I can also mention that I think it's time we celebrate women entrepreneurs more. Get her, for example, one day in a month or one day in a quarter to meet college students in Odisha. Just give that motivation. I think we haven't celebrated successes by women entrepreneurs as much, is my limited point, and that can be done. But over to you.
Yes, 3 minutes. A very good evening to all of you, especially the younger ones out there. Just say hello, please, guys. Let's see whether you have the life in there or not. Yes, thank you. So yes, we should celebrate. We should celebrate Madhumita and many like Madhumita around. And I think that's probably one of the pieces that we should create, is do network and bring life to such cases which have really done great, or such examples which can be role models for many others to emulate. So the question that I was asked, how could corporates, and especially women and Odisha, few examples I would like to bring in. Everybody's going to talk about industry, probably there are others who will talk about educational institution, the fact that they should be groomed, there should be a platform that should be created for helping them understand what business is. As one of our initial speakers also mentioned, finance, marketing, as well as how do you look at the overall packaging of your design and an idea. So all of that can be done, and that should be done definitely. And in Odisha, the kind of focus and the mandate that the government has, with 33% of that investment towards startup going towards women, I'm sure you all have an amazing space to work on. But few things that are important to also look at, few avenues. One is sports. And if you really see in Odisha, the sports model is really caught up. The way it has been designed is no different from any startup. With high performing centers that have been created, where there is an amazing partnership between the government, which is bringing in the infrastructure, the broad resources, to corporates, which is bringing in the best of the technology, their know-how, their practices, their processes, to startups, which are bringing in the new age elements on data sciences, on sports, or nutrition, or many other technical elements, including gadgets pertaining to sports. And here, very much in Bhubaneswar, sits this whole center, which is having 10 kind of high-performing centers, from football to archery to karate to wrestling, and all that you can think of. And that actually is the real way of how we could work around, not just for those who are startups, but these young women startups could actually come in and explore their kind of focus towards grooming some of the other women who probably have not got an opportunity. So it's an in-house setup, not just to bring in the real startups into the sporting ecosystem, but also to give a platform to some of these girls who probably otherwise would not have got the wherewithal or the platform to experience and experiment themselves and their potential. The other one that I would really want us to look at is where corporates are working with the government and the industrial forums to create industrial parks. One example that we've been hearing since morning is about the aluminum industrial park and the entire downstream. Vedanta also is doing a similar work in Odisha, and we are, through our platform Spark, which my colleague is going to speak about in a moment from now, are inviting women startups like OSIS is there. I'm sure OSIS team is here today, or others who are really supporting us in coming out with solutions which probably are a challenge to us. There are multiple such examples that we have within our ecosystem which could further strengthen women and women startups to come forward. I think it's about mindset, one. Two is also about looking at where the resources lie and catching them young, grooming them to explore. So for example, I come in from the CSR background, and I believe kind of our focus on CSR should be and must be on catching these young girls pretty early in their life, focusing on entrepreneurship at the school level, pre-vocationalization, which is now part of the minimum education program, but how do you actually take it to the last mile in the rural areas? How could we actually explore creating data hubs, not in the cities, but in the rural areas, because potential lies there. So there are multiple such initiatives that could be looked at from CSR side of work system. I would leave with a couple of pieces, which is basically on when we are talking about women startups, it's also important to talk about what we are doing in-house as Vedanta. So we are currently working with rural women across 14 states. They have their own micro enterprises, they own them, they have their own products, rather brands. 950 products, services is what they're making right now as I speak. And also, when I say so, they have their own e-commerce platform. They are on kind of all the e-commerce platforms that you can think of, but they have their own, which is called Hearts with Fingers, and they're designing their own destiny. I think it's about, again, not just the mindset, but I'll also like to add scale, speed, because that's what we need in today's times. 2,000 startups in Odisha is too less. We all have to converge to make it, multiply it 100x. And I think that's where I will leave us to. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anupam. That was very interesting. I think your connection with sports was very, very interesting. Very nice. So all the young girls and boys behind, how many of you want to become startup founders? Raise your hands. Yeah, quite a few hands there. Oh, wow. So the people who haven't raised their hands should...
Jai Bande Utkal Janani. My startup journey. Well, I want to break a few myths. I'm not a young woman. I'm in my 50s, and I registered my first startup when I was 46. So here I break a myth. I'm not a science or a STEM student nor an IIT graduate. I'm a Harvard graduate with a degree in Masters in Social Work from Tata Institute and MPA from Kennedy School. From a public policy and social development world, to the world of beauty, health, and wellness. And now we've just pre-launched our Ayurveda-inspired neurocosmetics. The first time globally, a company which has done R&D in Ayurveda, which is inspired by neurocosmetics. And we are filing for our patent. So another myth that's been broken, that you don't have to be from a science background to be in the tech field. And what made me start my startup? So it's passion, like Mr. Mishra before this, in the session before us, mentioned that you need to have passion to do anything. And I followed my heart. Since, I think, my birth, I followed my heart and I've been a rebel. When my family wanted me to be a doctor, I wanted to pursue social work. And when I was well settled in a very cushy job in the development sector, I left it to start my own NGO. While working with women in urban areas, in the urban slums and in rural areas, I realized how difficult it is to bring entrepreneurship to those women who are in a very disadvantaged situation. And it's very easy to talk, to have policies, but to execute them is a huge challenge. We keep talking about enabling ecosystem. I think it's become a jargon now. We all know as startup founders, as entrepreneurs, how difficult it is to maneuver the system, how difficult it is to raise funds, how difficult it is to get infrastructure, how difficult it is to do anything. But what drives us is our resilience. So people out there who want to be entrepreneurs don't think it's very rosy, but yes, you have to fail, you have to face challenges, and you have to be resilient. My startup journey hasn't been very, very rosy and very, very successful, but it's been now, after years of thinking how to start it, I finally took the courage, took the plunge to start it. And now Jivada, we are a pan-India brand in personal care, organic personal care. We want to be better than Forest Essentials. We want to be the #1 Odisha brand that is globally acclaimed. #1 brand from India, from Odisha, which will be in Ayurveda neurocosmetics. We want to do cutting-edge research and development. We are incubated in Institute of Life Sciences, and thanks to our mentors there who believed in us and in our vision to do cutting-edge tech work in this sector. And so this has been our startup journey. I was given 3 minutes, and I want to stick to it and give others a chance. So I wish everyone, every entrepreneur here, young, old, new, men, women, whoever wants to become an entrepreneur, I think we should take up that challenge, because it gives us immense satisfaction to have sleepless nights, so that, I come up with solutions on wellness. So we come up with problems. As entrepreneurs, we also come up with solutions to address those problems. Wishing you all the very best of luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was quite incredible. I love your passion of being the #1 brand in the world from Odisha. Give her a big round of applause for that passion. Fantastic. Our best wishes are with you. And talking about passion, we have another founder, Sureka. Sureka Rotra is the founder of Ashdit Nutritech. So maybe you can share your journey quickly, plus highlight in a little more specific way opportunities in Odisha in the sector which you are in, agri-tech. Thank you.
A very warm good evening to all present here. Thank you so much for asking me a very relevant question about what are the opportunities in the agri-tech, Nutritech sector. Before that, I would like to share my journey in Ashdit Nutritech. Ashdit Nutritech is a company that I set up 2 years ago, and it has been a very interesting journey, as I put it. We have had our challenges, we have had our ups, we have had our successes, and we have had moments when I have questioned whether I took the right decision or not. Of all the sectors that are there are open for a founder, I think it is most important to look at two things when you are looking at setting up a venture. What is your passion driving you towards, and what is the scale of impact that you can create in the community with your passion? If that is sorted, I think one should just forge forward. And Nutritech and Agritech is the upcoming sector in the next 10 years. At Ashtet Nutritech, we work with moringa and millets. We are trying to create a world-class brand by creating SOPs of harvesting styles with moringa so that we leverage the best possible raw materials. We are doing processing so that we reduce the anti-nutrients that are there in moringa so that the nutrition becomes more accessible to you. And we are also looking at extracting the phytochemicals that are there so that you can build in your immunity, which is most necessary in today's ecosystem. For the women, young women that are there, agriculture per se may seem a little challenging because you have to deal with a very variant degree of stakeholders that are there, starting from farmers to FPOs, to self-help groups, to government officials, to investors. But if you're really passionate about it, there is a huge ocean in front of you. And one small tip that I would like to give all the entrepreneurs, men or women, is if you're wanting to take on this journey, it is very, very, very important to start your networking from now. Get connected to people. Learn about their journeys, learn about their mistakes so that you don't have to waste time learning from your own mistakes. Connect, and connect again. Thank you.
Thank you. Those were some very important tips for all of you. Connect. She said there's a whole lot of opportunities. It is tough, but well worth it. Thank you. No panel is complete without a consultant. So we have Deepthi Panda, who's our next speaker. She is with Innocresta Consulting. What role does consulting companies play in helping women entrepreneurs in Odisha? So role of consulting companies for women entrepreneurs. Over to you. And again, 3 minutes, please.
So good evening, everyone. I'm Deepthi Panda. I represent Innocresta Consulting. So this dais is very, very, important for me because almost 10 years back, I, along with my team, got the privilege to prepare the startup policy for government of Odisha. And it gives me an immense pride today that till when it started in 2016, till date that policy is in place, and now the government is thinking of revamping that policy, right? Now when it comes to consulting, it is very, very dear to my heart. And when there was a COVID period, we could understand that consulting business is not just when we can only go to the client and do it, but we can also do it remotely. We can also do it by a small setup of a team, and we do not need huge infrastructure to do it. So as per, what happened is that when I went to the market and started this consulting firm, people asked me, you don't have a product, for what do we pitch into you? So where is your product? There is no fairness cream, there is no product, there is no biscuit, there is no cake, there is no agricultural product, nothing. There is no IT product, nothing. You are a single sole person with a few team members, and what do we actually invest upon? So the mindset from there to today has changed a lot. Today, many organizations are actually coming back to the consultants and asking them to do a lot of strategic and business growth initiatives for them. We are working with various small and medium-sized enterprises and organizations to help to build profitability, to network with various teams, to arrange VC fundings for them, and also to help them to go in their trajectory path of growth. It is not just the one example that I am speaking about. What had happened is one day I went to OHub, and when I was sitting there in order to, to register my startup, I actually met a few female startup entrepreneurs who had come there, who asked me, what do you do? I said them that, I actually advise businesses how to grow. So, very moment they said that we are not so literate enough, we do not have so much of knowledge. Can you help us, actually in developing, how do we actually apply in Startup Odisha? We do not have that knowledge also. So, in every moment what I want to say is that you will have to find an area, the gray area which has not been tapped in the market, and that would where your interest would lie, and then you can actually grow there. So, coming back to the statistics that was there shared by McKinsey, it says that today Indian and global women entrepreneurship would actually lead to around 12 billion to the global GDP in the coming next 2 years. So this is the power of women entrepreneurship. And as Mr. Ninad said that, we have got around women entrepreneurship around 18 to 20% across the globe. But I would like to mention here that in Odisha, women entrepreneurship is around 48%, which actually beats the national and the international statistics also. Last but not the least, I would like to mention one thing which I actually learned, that you have to be noticeable and then only people will notice you. And second, you have to be investable and then only the investments would come to you. Thank you, and I hope everyone a great journey.
Thank you, Dipti. Those are some interesting statistics. I'm quite taken aback with this 48%. Let me move on and invite Professor Sasmita Samanta to say her about academics. How can academic institutions foster innovation amongst women in Odisha? She is highly respected because I saw a lot of people greeting her warmly and touching her feet also. So I'm sure we'll get something to learn. But unfortunately, you have only 3 minutes.
Thank you, all the members of audience and all my co-panelists, moderators, and all the youngsters present here. I hope that all the college students, those who are, I think that they consist the half of the crowds must be knowing me. So thank you all for being here. I spent 27 years in academics, and in this 27 years, got ample opportunity to connect myself to innovation and entrepreneurship. One, at the age of 20, I got exposure to build one institution, to get associated for building the institution closely. Second, while I grew up in academics, maybe at the age of 30 to 35, I got the chance to get associated with incubation centers and grooming the entrepreneurs. So through that journey, while going through that journey, I came across many institutions across the globe. I came across many case studies. So while coming across all the case studies, maybe through my grooming process and in the way I grew in my life, it became the part and parcel of my life to take up the challenges. So while I left the academics, I was at the topmost position in academics. So I thought to leave it and take up some challenges in life. I have some more time to work. I am a very keen observer of nature. While I talk about entrepreneurship, while I think about entrepreneurship, one line of our Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus that comes to my mind, while he got the Nobel Prize, he had said that each one of the human being in this world is a born entrepreneur. Because whether it's studying, not studying, doing something, not doing something, but each one of them are having capability to take care of themselves, to earn their livelihood, and they are capable enough for their sustenance. So each one of the individual in this world is the born entrepreneur. Second is that while I
keenly observe the nature, you all keenly observe the nature, we can see that even a small honeybee, while it's building its nest, it's creating honey, each and every moment, the small creature is putting some efforts to contribute something for the world. Perhaps each one of the entrepreneurs in this globe, they want to contribute something to make this world beneficial for others. So while came from academics to entrepreneurship, in academics normally we talk about inclusiveness, we talk about elevation of poverty, sufferings from the world, how to bring technology into the ground level, and mostly I worked in the domain of education, healthcare, and also in finance. So I started in my organization, the name I have given Sustainable Outreach and Universal Leadership, to bring the technology to the ground level. In the previous panel, somebody was saying that one platform should be developed where all the healthcare institutions should come together to share their resources. The queues should be managed, the resources should be managed combinedly. That product we have developed in my company. I have discussed with many of the leaders in this domain. And in education and finance also, we have developed many products. In 3 years, we have developed around 12 products. All are patented. We have got the trademark for all those products. And I think that naturally, any woman in this globe are used to take up the challenges, accept the changes much more than anyone else, and they are having enough potential to grow in this space, in the space of entrepreneurship. Maybe slowly it's opening up for the women. Being an woman entrepreneur, I think that whenever any challenges are coming, we are discussing in any leadership forum, discussing about finance, discussing about technology. Perhaps till now that space is dominated by men. I was talking to Ms. Dipti Panda also previously. I had the chance to talk to her. So I hope that in coming days, in the way the enrollment of women entrepreneurships are increasing and they are taking much more percentage day by day, I hope that space also will be very conducive for the women. And when my next term will be coming, I'll be talking about many things. Time given to me is very short. Thank you, sir, and thanks to all.
Thank you so much. Yes, we have to push the clock a little bit because we had 7 speakers and 30 minutes. So my job is tougher than each one of you. So I will now request Sarika Saxena, she is from Angel Network, to share her thoughts on what are the barriers, particularly women entrepreneurs there, what are the barriers they face in accessing funding. You know, I have also written a blog on this. There's a bro code which always existed. How do you break that?
Hi, good evening everyone. It's an absolute honor and privilege to be here, and I would like to congratulate the government of Odisha for organizing this massive event where all of us could share our ideas and learn from each other. You know, talking about, and I'm the last speaker, so I'm going to hurry it up, talking about funding for women. And the statistics say that in India, only about 14% of startups are women-led. And while Odisha definitely is doing much better in that regard, but overall it's about 20-25% of the total MSME sector. That said, you know, despite that, it is also, most of them are sole entrepreneurs and is in sole proprietorship and not really raising money. So the people who are actually raising money and who are women-led is a very, very tiny segment. I think the problem that women face is maybe unconscious or conscious biases that creep into people's mind. In fact, many years ago when I was looking for a home loan,
I was refused a loan until it is signed off or there is another person with me, either my father or my husband. Needless to say, I eventually got it without anybody else being a collateral with me. But women face that on a daily basis. The fact that they don't have collateral, they have these biases, and most of all, the networks that they lack. And my esteemed panel has just mentioned a few of those, saying networking is the most important thing that people need.